Maybe if maybe the people who watch that on the rebroadcast, that won't be muted out.
Yeah, maybe not. Welcome, everyone, to another Saturday morning here. You know, evening, night, wherever you're at. Sunday, maybe even Sunday somewhere. But
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could be. It could be Sunday morning. It could be.
nonetheless, welcome to another episode of Metalheads Unite. We got a little catching up to do from last week, so if you missed
Oh,
last,
yeah, but that's something we're definitely more than willing to do
most
the
definitely,
after the guest we had last week. So
yeah. If you missed that, you can go back and check that out on YouTube
you
or
can.
our Facebook page over there, or Twitch. I think has it there too. So at least those three I know. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure. I'm not sure we're on so many platforms. I can't keep up, but at least those are the three ones I know for sure. So
Yeah.
if you want to catch the interview with Tim and Chris from Eyes of the Living, that it is there. If you want to check that out, so and please do. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And
It was a,
if you
it was a,
hadn't
it was a fun time.
if you hadn't got turned on to their music yet, the hell's wrong with you?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have some catching up to do if you haven't heard those guys yet.
Yeah, good stuff. But anyway, so it's going to be a little bit of catching up with some of the history events. Other than that, I think we're pretty much caught up on everything. Seemed like there was a busy week in the news, so got a lot to
Yeah.
cover there
Yeah, there
too. So
was.
I guess we better jump right into it here. So
Yeah, if we don't want to keep everybody all day.
yeah, right. But 5 hours later, you're hearing somebody on the
Yeah.
other end going, "Ma, meatloaf, we want it now."
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, anyway, going to kick off with birthdays as usual from I believe it was the 10th through the 16th. I could be wrong. Maybe it was the 9th. I don't know. But yeah, maybe it was the 9th. Anyway, we'll kick that off here. April the 10th was the first ones that I had. First one I had was Warren DeMartini, a guitarist for Rat. Then I had Mike Mushak, guitarist for Stained, Newstead, and Saint Asonia. So he's kind of been around the block a little bit. So then I had April the 11th, Nigel Pulsford, guitarist for Bush. Carries Matthews, singer and songwriter for Catatonia. Oliver Radell, bassist for Ramstein. April the 12th, Dee Dee Verney, bassist and songwriter for Overkill. I had Sebnum Farah, singer for Volvox, which is a band that I had never heard of until I did this, and then I started looking them up. And actually, probably going to go back and check out some of that catalog. Pretty good stuff. April 13th, Randy Piper, guitarist for Wasp from 82 to 86. We have Bill D'Angelo, guitarist for Femme Fatale. He unfortunately passed away in 2005. Speaking of that, I didn't know if you realized that the old lead singer for Femme Fatale is now the new lead singer for Vixen, which I did not know that. But
Oh, I didn't know that either.
yeah,
No.
so good stuff, I guess. Like I said, we learn as we go too. So,
Yeah.
also on April 13th, we had Aaron Lewis, a singer and songwriter for Stained. April 14th, we had Richie Blackmore, Of course, guitarist for Rainbow and Deep Purple. I know I'm going to kill this name, and I'm so sorry. Christian Alvestam. I'm going to say that's probably pretty close. Vocalist and multi instrumentalist. When I say multi, this dude played bass, guitar, and drums. I mean, it was a whole list of stuff there. So, very talented guy. He played for Scar Symmetry from 04 to 08, and then Miseration from 2007 to 2017. April 15th, we had George Marino, American Grammy Award-winning mastering engineer who worked with Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2012. We had Frankie Poulenc, bassist for The Darkness. We had Ben Kasika, guitarist for Skillet. And then April 16th, Lee Kerslake, drummer for Uriah Heep and Ozzy Osbourne, who unfortunately passed away in 2020. So that was the birthdays for this week. Happy birthday to those. And for those that I missed, I apologize. Happy birthday to you. And of course, like always, if any of the viewers out there or listeners have birthdays this week, happy birthday to you. I hope it was a good one. If you're spending it with us this morning, thank you. Happy birthday to you. We'll try to make it a good start to your birthday.
That's right. We try to do our part.
Yeah, right. All right. That being said, I guess we can jump into all this news.
Yeah, there's a bunch. And I know that normally I'm the one who leads off with the not so great news, but I know you have that story this week. So why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. So I think it was kind of a pop-up story that was going on while I was searching. So. And I actually forgot I had it because that tells you how much Chris likes giving you the bad news. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. The highlight of the show. Okay.
Actually, it was over from Metal Sucks. Sad news for the rock world. As a Dance bassist Tim Furyk has passed away. Tim's exact age and cause of death are currently unknown. The news was confirmed by the band, who tweeted the following: "We are absolutely devastated to share the news that our friend and bass player Tim Furyk passed away last night." Not sure what day that was. Maybe it was the 14th.
I think I saw that it was the 13th is when he actually passed away. I think.
Gotcha. We ask that you respect our privacy and that of Tim's family while we deal with this heartbreaking and untimely loss. We will share further updates on Swanfest and our upcoming touring schedule as soon as we have them. Everyone at Metal Sucks sends their heart out to Tim's family, friends, bandmates, and fans during this difficult time, as do we here at Metalhead Unite. So.
Absolutely.
So yeah, always. I thought we was gonna get by another week without having to do this, but like I said, this popped up on the feed yesterday. So
yep. And I don't honestly know a whole lot about that band, but I mean from looking at the story, because I saw it after you were telling me about it. You know, you sent your stories through and everything. I actually saw it come across at the PRP, and I saw the picture of the guy. And if that's a relatively recent picture, this dude was not very old at all.
No, I think he was probably early 30s, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so he's whatever it was that caused, the cause of death was. It was way too soon. So it's really, really sad. All right. And speaking of the PRP.com, my first story this week is over there also. Jesse Bartz, drummer for stoner rock band Lopan, has been battling cancer that was recently detected in his tonsils. He underwent surgery for the situation and will continue to receive radiation treatment going forward. A GoFundMe for his mounting medical bills has been launched here, and obviously there's a hyperlink in the story that you can click on if you wish. An update on his health shared by his wife Abby this past Wednesday, April 13th, read, quote, "Jesse is out of surgery and the source of cancer has been found in his tonsils. They have been removed with additional tissue in that area. He will stay overnight for monitoring and hopefully go home tomorrow. The next phase of treatment will be radiation and possible chemo to dissolve the cancer cells caught up in the neck lymph nodes. His doctor says this course of treatment is highly effective," end quote. So it kind of almost sounds like they may have caught it early and they may have localized it. So hopefully this is something that he won't have to deal with, long term. So, obviously we hear any more about it, we'll let you guys know. But like I said in the story, there is a GoFundMe if anyone wishes uh, to donate, because those hospital bills, they add up by the second. So
Oh yeah, especially when you're dealing with cancer. So
yeah, so good luck to him. Hope everything works out. Hopefully they got it all now, or whatever's left over, they can get it all. Like I said, like his wife said, there's still some, up in here. So
yeah,
hopefully they can
I don't
find
know
that shit and knock it out.
I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody having cancer in their tonsils.
In the tonsils, yeah, I haven't either.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of cancer is rough, but
Yeah.
all right. My first story here is over from Metal Hammer, and I think one of our friends, David from the Metalhead Unite, actually posted this morning or yesterday,
Yeah.
or whatever. So, I didn't want to let him know that he was going to be on mentioned on the radio. So. I had already had the story anyway, but it's still
right.
It's still cool. I like the participation anyway. So
yeah. Well, and at the same time, we've only got 342 members at the Facebook group. So there are people at the face on here that aren't going to see that he had posted that. So
well, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, over from Metal Hammer. A study carried out by researchers at Heidelberg University in Germany has suggested that the speed and accuracy of surgery may be improved if surgeons listen to AC/DC at high volumes while operating, although they may bust their eardrums. But the study, published under the title Effect of Genre and Amplitude of Music During Laparoscopic Surgery, examined the effect of music in the operating theater, noting that choosing the right soundtrack to accompany surgical work could improve the performance of novice surgeons. The comparison was carried out by playing the Beatles and AC/DC during laparoscopic surgery, a procedure during which narrow tubes are inserted into the abdomen, through which narrow instruments are inserted to carry out exploratory or remedial surgery. With soft rock in medium volume, participants were faster in peg transfer, 60.3 versus 56.7 seconds, and more accurate in suture with intracorporeal knot. Oh my god. That's why my wife's the nurse. 79.2 versus 54 seconds compared to without music. Explain the report's authors. The total score was improved 383.4 versus 337.9 by enhancing accuracy 79.5 versus 54.0. This positive effect was lost if the soft rock was played in high volume. They continue with hard rock in medium volume. Participants were faster performing precision cutting, 139.4 versus 235.8, compared to without music. Both balloon preparation and precision cutting were performed more rapidly, 227.3 versus 181.4. I'm guessing this all is in seconds. They didn't say anything after the seconds from the first one, so I'm just guessing it's all in seconds. And the accuracy was maintained. Hard rock in high volume also resulted in increased speed, 366.7 versus 295.5, compared to without music. Thereby, the total scores of participants were enhanced 516.5 versus 437.1. Now that we've lost everybody with the math, in plain English, the surgeons who operated with AC/DC playing in the background were faster and more precise, with the time taken to complete certain procedures dropping by 41%, while accuracy improved by 5%. The improvement in performance by the surgeons who worked to a Beatles soundtrack was similar, but only when the music was played at low volume. What does all this mean for the future of medicine? To be frank, we have literally no idea, but we will be requesting some AC/DC next time we go under the knife. Night of the Long Knives, perhaps. But interesting that music has that kind of effect on people, even doing the most precise things, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So the moral of the story is work to metal.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that. So
No, you really can't. All right, staying over at the PRP for me, vocalist Dan Watson has announced his exit from deathcore outfit Enterprise Earth. In a statement shared via his social media on April 12th, Watson vaguely outlined his reasons for leaving, offering, quote, "After over 8 years, I am no longer part of Enterprise Earth. I will not be on any tours or in any future material. It didn't come to this because of any of us wanted it to, but because the strings of destiny tugged us in different directions. I will always love the guys I shared the stage with and slept nut to butt within a sardine can on tour with, and I will always support their future. Enterprise Earth was my everything the last 8 years. I cherish the good and the bad from the experiences it brought me, the lessons it taught me through hardships, and the incredible adventures it brought me on and most importantly, the opportunity to meet all of you. It was hard to see you all as fans because it felt more like family because you treated me as such on the road, most of you, haha, and really are responsible for me accidentally becoming a successful deathcore vocalist, successful as in was able to manifest my dreams. You guys pushed me and challenged me and picked me up when I was beat down. I'll never forget that. As for my future, things won't be like what you are used to. They'll be better." End quote. Watson appears to intend to remain a member of his other outfit, Mirelor. At present, it is unclear if Enterprise Earth will be proceeding with their previously announced touring plans, which include a European UK tour as direct support for Fit for an Autopsy next month and a summer US headlining tour booked for July and August. So we'll keep you guys posted on that, especially since, we do have the Hitting the Road segment. So, keep you guys up to date on anything that may change with their touring plans. But, again, maybe it sounds like it was, something amicable, I guess. So, but good luck to the band and good luck to Dan Watson, whatever he's got going on.
My next story, I kind of put this out there too earlier in the week. It's over from Metal Injection. It's no secret Jim Carrey is a metal fan. Well, it was kind of to me. I mean, I kind of knew he liked some bands, but I didn't know like he was as big of a hardcore metal fan as he is. So, as we've all heard and seen with Cannibal Corpse's appearance in his 1994 movie Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, though Carrey's story of hearing Pantera for the first time and then accidentally running into them later that same day is pretty nuts. In a recent interview with Fox 5 Washington, D.C., Carrey told the story of hearing Pantera for the first time on the way down to a hotel with his manager at the time. Carrey said he was completely blown away by Pantera's energy and pretty much lost his mind. Then, upon arriving at the hotel, none other than Pantera themselves were standing in line behind Carrey and his manager waiting to check in. Quote, "The first time I ever heard Pantera, I was driving down to San Diego to check into a hotel before doing a concert at a theater. Me and my manager Jim Miller at the time, we put Pantera on. I had never heard anything like it, and it hit me on such a level of extreme stimulation that I just started laughing uncontrollably for the entire track. It just like nervously laughing, like what is happening right now. And then we went to check into the hotel, and the guys behind us in line checking into the hotel were Pantera. I assume the real end of the story is that upon turning around and seeing Pantera behind him, Carrey then had to explain to the band why he was currently freaking out. So that would be I would love to have seen that on video. That would have been awesome. But I think listen to somebody and then that's just kind of I guess ironic to actually wind up in the same hotel and then turn around and meet the guys. So
I know, like the same day.
Yeah. So that's pretty wild. I always love some of the stories that coming outside of the metal. Like you would think that I mean, I guess I should say a lot of the stories within the metal community are good too, but when you hear it from outside the community, it's kind of a crazier story, I think, because you expect a lot of crazy stuff to go on if you got two bands that are touring together or something like that. But to hear some stuff like that from just an actor or something like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always funny to hear about how famous people get starstruck sometimes. Because I mean, it definitely doesn't happen every day to like people like you and me, just regular folks. But I've run into a couple of famous people here and there, but being a famous person and then running into another famous person, just to kind of hear that story, and especially from Jim Carrey, because I mean, I actually watched the video that you referenced, the interview that you referenced in the story, and because you know how Jim Carrey is, so I mean, him recounting the story was a lot more animated than the way you read it, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a whole lot different to hear you read it than to hear him than to hear hear him tell the story straight from his mouth. It was pretty funny. But yeah, very cool. All right, I am moving on over to blabbermouth.net. Our good friends over there. Deftones have recruited Fred Sablin as their new touring bassist following the recent departure of Sergio Vega. Sablin made his live debut with the Deftones Thursday night, April 14th, at the opening concert of the band's spring 2022 U.S. tour at the Moda Center at the Rose Quarter in Portland, Oregon. Also joining the band for select songs was a second guitarist whose identity has not yet been revealed. Sablin is best known as the former bassist for Marilyn Manson, having toured and recorded with the shock rocker between 2010 and 2014. He has also played bass for Chelsea Wolfe and Peter Hook and the Light, and is a member of the punk rock supergroup Heaven's Blade alongside Youth Code singer Sarah Taylor, Rob Zombie bassist Piggy D, who was on guitar in that band, and Suicide Silence drummer Alex Lopez. Vega, who officially joined Deftones in 2009, confirmed his exit last month, a story that we shared here, just days after a new photo of the band without him emerged online on various digital service providers. At the time, the 51-year-old musician claimed that he had been led to believe he would eventually be brought in as a full-time member, but in 12 years' time, that never happened. And I'm not going to read the rest because, like I say, we already told the story. So let's see. Let's see if there's more here. Nah, basically just a bunch of stuff that we had literally talked about in the last story. So I'm not gonna reiterate all that. So.
I always hate like some of the stories that we do. They kind of they go like say we had like David Draymond's story or whatever, and then they'll say, oh well, Corey Taylor also said. And by the way, Slipknot's on tour. Like, motherfucker, how did it start out with David Draymond? It didn't want to tell us about Slipknot's tour, but
yeah, yeah, that is probably one of the things, and I love blabbermouth.net. They're a pretty comprehensive website, but that is one of the more annoying things about, and they're the worst about it, Blabbermouth. They really are. Starting, like you say, starting out talking about what the story in the headline, and then completely taking a left turn and be like, that had nothing to do with the headline.
Right.
And basically that story right there is a perfect example of it, because they were talking about the new bassist, and then they started talking about, it was still Deftones related, but all you're doing is piggybacking off a story that you had already reported on. So it's basically it's just redundant. I don't really care.
It almost feels like it's filler news,
Kinda.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing. I guess we could use with Dave Ellefson. They talked about how he's already working again and blah 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 blah. And then they said, oh, and by the way, he got kicked out of Megadeth, and it's like the whole like repetitious thing that we've been talking about already for a year. So it's like we don't need all that extra info. We just like to know what he's doing now. So anyway,
yeah, it's not necessary to that horse is dead and been beaten already. Right. So we don't have to hear again about how he got fired for extramarital stuff, so.
Yeah. Well, which was, 20, 25 years ago on top of that. So maybe even longer than that. I can't remember what the date was, but
yeah.
Nonetheless, we try to keep all that extra riffraff out of the news stories.
We try to.
I actually cut a lot of stuff out when I was going through proofreading. I actually did proofread a lot this week. So if I did if anything did come up messed up, then I'll take the blame for it. But this was over from Metal Injection with Kurt Cobain's anniversary of his death last week. You could almost guarantee that there was going to be a news story somewhere coming up. But Kurt Cobain's 1969 Fender Mustang guitar, as well as a 1965 Dodge Dart belonging to the late Nirvana leader, are only but a few of the items that will be auctioned off beginning May 20th by Julian's Auctions as part of their Music Icons event. I believe I just did a story last week, and they were involved in that as well. So they're involved in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that auction house, they do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. This May, our Music Icons event, representing the first sale of Kurt Cobain's mythic 1969 Fender electric guitar, will be once in a lifetime auction for the ages, said Darren Julian, President and Chief Executive Officer of Julian's Auctions. To see this fabled guitar, one of the most culturally significant and historically important guitars, not only of Kurt Cobain and Nirvana's legacy, but in all of rock music history, come to our auction house. Has been one of our greatest privileges and most distinguished honors. The guitar, a left-handed 1969 Fender Mustang in competition Lake Placid blue finish, is expected to receive opening bids between $600,000 and $800,000. Wow, that's crazy. It's the same guitar that Cobain can be seen playing in the video "Smells Like Teen Spirit," which probably just gave it another $200,000 price tag.
Probably, yeah.
The guitar is a rarity beyond its distinction of being a left-handed instrument. It's also a marvel in the sense of that little of Cobain's personal belongings have become available in this setting and with such fanfare, a point not lost on the auction organizers. Rarely do people personally owned items from Kurt Cobain with his incredible and unprecedented provenance of his life and career become available for public sale, Julian noted in his remarks. Cobain told Guitar World in one of his final interviews, "I'm left-handed, and it's not very easy to find reasonably priced, high-quality left-handed guitars. But out of all the guitars in the whole world, the Fender Mustang is my favorite." At the time, Cobain remarked that he'd only ever owned 2 guitars of the beloved model, adding another level of exclusivity. I don't know. That's a wild one. I don't know if I've ever even heard that one put in that term, but okay. To what is already enticing collectible. After also being auctioned off is Cobain's 1965 Dodge Dart, a rust bucket of an automobile that is said to be the only known surviving vehicle driven by Cobain. Its purchase was said to be a point of contention between Cobain and his wife Courtney Love, and the car was later purchased from Love by Cobain's sister Kim. It still has its original Washington license plate and vehicle title as proof of ownership. Other items of Cobain's featured in the auction include a skateboard with a hand-drawn image of Iron Maiden's Eddie mascot and a painting Cobain made of Michael Jackson. While the auction will run officially from May 20th through May 22nd, select items, including the Fender Mustang, will be available for viewing at Julian's Auctions in Beverly Hills beginning April 11th through the 15th, which was yesterday. So, and at the Hard Rock Cafe in New York City from May 16th through May 20th. Please visit the Julian's Auctions website for more information. So, well, we got some pretty good items there. So, I wouldn't mind seeing what kind of shape that Dodge Dart's in. It says it's a rust bucket, but
yeah,
I kind of doubt that, being that the family still owned it, so I don't think they would have just let it go. But who knows?
Well, I don't know. A car that old, it probably didn't hold up that well.
Yeah,
especially in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, that is true. Yeah, that is true. Can't rain all the time.
Well, that's true, but it does still rain a lot. But all right, I'm moving over to Metal Injection with you. Hypocrisy recently parted ways with drummer Reidar Horghagen right before their upcoming tour with Septic Flesh, The Agonist, and Horizon Ignited. Now Hypocrisy has revealed they've recruited the Crown drummer Henrik Axelsson as a session member for the foreseeable future. Quote, "Please welcome Henrik Axelsson. This talented Swedish musician played in Implode and Soils of Fate. Since 2014, he is the drummer for the Crown. Now Henrik is going to join Hypocrisy as a session member. Looking forward to performing together," end quote. Catch Hypocrisy with Axelsson at one of the dates below, and you got all the tour dates there, which I mean I'm sure either we have already reported or spoiler alert, we may report here in just a second. So yeah. So that was a quick little story, but it was just basically a follow up on a story that I reported on last week about the former drummer leaving. So I just wanted to kind of update you guys on the new drummer they brought in for at least for the tour. Who knows what's going to happen long term? So there you go. Kind of a quick update there.
All right, I'm going to switch over to Loudwire for this. This one's kind of lengthy.
Yeah.
So it makes me, after reading this, makes me want to replan my wedding and redo this all over again. But a person's wedding day is one of the most important days of their life, which is why over the years many have bucked the traditional black and tie celebration for themed affairs that reflect their interests. It's one of the few occasions where the host can have everything they want and not have to worry about the desires of others. Country style barn weddings, Star Wars inspired ceremonies, it's all out there. And for those who grew up going to rock and metal concerts, it's the perfect opportunity to put on a show of their own. If you're planning an alternative music themed wedding or are fantasizing about the day you will, here are some ideas to get you started. 8 ideas for throwing a rock and metal themed wedding. First off, VIP passes and ticket invitations. A wedding starts the moment the invitations are sent out. Save the dates, give guests an idea about the ceremony or what the ceremony is going to be like, from the time and place to the overall vibe and dress code. Let friends and family know that your rock and metal wedding will be one to remember by designing concert ticket invitations or all access passes. These can also include information like table numbers and plus ones. Not only is it a creative way to get people excited for your big day, but there'll be mementos that your invitees will hold on to forever. Everyone loves to be on the guest list. A lot of these, we'll go ahead and give you a heads up, you can find on Etsy. So Second, add a punk touch to your ensembles by donning false leather jackets. Be kind to animals, though, please. Specifically outfitted for your big day. Take a DIY approach by spray painting bride or groom on the back and trick them out with whatever studs and patches you want. It will be fun to work on at home or as a bachelor or bachelorette party activity, and you will look awesome as well. Third one's a stage to recite your vows. During a live show, everyone's attention is focused on the band performing on a stage. At a wedding, the couple to be married are the rock stars. So while a traditional wedding altar may feature a white arc braided with flowers, a rock and roll altar should have stage lights and amps like the Kiss Wedding Chapel in Las Vegas. Uh, a guest signed a guitar. If you or your partner are musicians, do away with the traditional guest book and have guests sign a guitar instead. It will be a novel experience for them, and you'll end up with a meaningful display piece for your home. You'll also likely pick it up and play with it more often when you read a guest book, which means reliving one of your fondest memories over and over again. Uh, Vinyl record table numbers. Once friends and family have scribbled their well wishes on the guitar, it's time to find their seats instead of a white square card identifying each table by a 7-inch vinyl record. Give each table a number, or be given, or even more creative and name each one after a famous musician or band. The eccentric so the family can hang at the war table. That might be a messy table. Uh,
Yeah, it would.
uh, a whiskey bottle centerpiece. Whiskey, and especially Jack Daniels, is widely known to be the preferred liquor of rock stars, according to Forbes, before bands like Askin Alexandria and Motley Crue brandished the infamous black labeled bottle. It was actually Frank Sinatra who got the ball rolling. While a bottle of Jack is likely to make an appearance at the bar, there are other ways to include the rock and roll symbol in the decor. Bring rebelliousness and beauty together in a centerpiece by turning an empty whiskey bottle into a vase for flowers. That's interesting. It will be wilted just like you will after drinking the bottle. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
at the bar, rock and metal band beers. First things first, be a good host and have an open bar. Second, keep the metal theme going by stocking the bar with some band made beers. Many bands have crafted their own signature brews, like the famous Iron Maiden Trooper Ale. Some have even made their own coffee blends too. When it's time for dessert, maybe try Zach Wild's collaboration blend with Death Wish Coffee. So I think we've covered a lot of different beers and alcohols on here that bands are put their stamp of approval on. So
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be hard to find a
You
lot of
could
that stuff.
you could probably stock an entire open bar strictly with
Yeah,
nothing but beverages that metal bands have come out with.
that would be awesome.
You probably could easily. Wine and beer and everything else.
Another way to ensure people have fun at the bar is to come up with a rock themed cocktail menu. Work with your hired mixologist to come up with a few options or get ideas from books like Punk Rock Cocktails by Jesse Hubbard. Inspirations can come from your favorite album titles, song titles, and rock star personas. I would actually be kind of interesting. I would like to be on the creative side of that, coming up with the names. But band themed coasters. Everyone has their location of choice at wedding receptions. Some people don't leave their tables for fear of dancing, while others can't be pried away from the dance floor. Give those who enjoy posting up at the bar a little extra dose of entertainment by providing band themed coasters for their drinks. It can be a good conversational starter. Guests can break the ice by talking about which coaster they received and why that band's most recent album totally lost them all credibility.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking about the drinks thing, you know, the one before. You could have a Bloody Roots Mary.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, man. Instrument cupcake toppers. Doing buffet style desserts make the cupcake stand out with instruments shaped toppers. A good bakery should be able to make custom designed toppers out of fondant, royal icing, or chocolate. Mini guitars, snare drums, and music notes will add a whimsical touch to these individual treats. Rock and roll cookies. Talented bakers can turn cookies into anything. Have you seen Food Network's Christmas Cookie Challenge? Find a cookie shop that does custom designs and ask them to turn sugar cookies into guitars, metal horns, mics, and even more. Um, Vinyl record dessert tower. Now you'll need a place to put all those cupcakes and cookies. The stacked vinyl records of varying sizes to create a multi-tier dessert tower. It will keep icing from getting smushed, as well as put the desserts on display for people to see them from across the room. Personalized flags and tapestries. Couples that are truly dedicated to providing an authentic rock and metal experience will surely hire a live band, but hiring a DJ to play all the headbanging hits can work too. Frequent showgoers know that bands often have large banners or tapestries hanging behind them as they perform to display their name or advertise their latest record. You can do the same. Order a personalized tapestry to hang behind the musical talent to celebrate your tying of the knot. Maybe it's a slip knot. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
American traditional tattoo wedding cake. Wedding cakes are supposed to be over the top, so it's a wonderful way to bring more rock and metal flair to the event. There are countless directions to go with this. One idea is to have a tattoo themed design, American traditional style with its simple iconography, bold lines and colors. It is the most common and recognizable. It'll be a eye popping photo op. Then we have cake carving battle axe. Before the cake is served, there is a ceremonial first cut made by the newlyweds. Instead of a knife, this couple from Offbeat Brides came up with a much grander idea, a battle axe. Let the Viking metal throw through you and kick off this marriage in style.
Hell yeah.
Just make sure the weapon is locked away in a safe place when it's not in use. Weddings have children and drunks, you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a lot of tattooed friends attending, book an artist you admire to set up a flash tattoo booth. It will be an experience neither you or nor your guests will ever forget. Just remember, it's wise to keep the booth going for just a few set hours. The later it gets in the night, the more drinks people will have, and judgment will go out the window. Don't let Aunt Helen do something she'll regret in the morning. She might take back her gift. Merch table. Part of the fun of having going to live shows is scanning the merch table for new threads. Mimic this experience by setting up a table at your wedding reception featuring customized shirts that people can take as souvenirs. Take cues from the styles of some of your favorite bands, like these ACDC inspired tees, for example. Of course, they should be offered for free. However, setting up a donation box and giving the money to music based charities like the Save the Music Foundation would be a generous idea too. Uh, I don't know, you can use that to pay for the wedding shit.
No kidding.
Personalized mini whiskey bottles. Typical wedding favors can include things like personalized M&M candies or stemless wine glasses. Send your friends and family home with something different, like personalized mini whiskey bottles. They'll match the centerpieces from earlier and keep the rock and roll fun going even after the party is over. Uh, so there's some kind of crazy ideas for an all metal or hard rock wedding there. So if anybody's planning on getting married, this it's wedding season. If you're trying to go out and get married, which is a pretty popular time of the year to get those cranking along. So
Yeah.
if you hadn't got plans yet, and you're a big metal fan, there's some ideas for you there. Check that out on Etsy. I think they also said some of that can be found on Amazon as well.
Probably. All right. So speaking of metal artists and coming out with stuff, Rob Zombie has come out with a second coffee blend, and this one's over at metalsucks.net. Damn, son, Rob Zombie is in work mode. The shock rocker has taken every weekend this year to drop another little tidbit from his upcoming reboot of the Munsters, and he's also just announced an insane U.S. tour. Now Zombie has added another licensed product to the mix, revealing his second collaboration with horror and metal-leaning coffee company Dead Sled. Rob's second coffee blend is called Dragula Fuel and is available now from Dead Sled. According to the company's website, quote, the officially licensed Rob Zombie Dragula Fuel is a proprietary USDA organic blend of coffee beans from Uganda and Guatemala. The Uganda coffee beans are from the sub-region of Uganda and are grown at an elevation of 1,600 meters. The Guatemalan beans are from the, oh, good God, give me a break. The Huehuetenango growing region and are grown at an elevation of 1,220 to 1,829 meters. The officially licensed Rob Zombie Dragula Fuel is ethically sourced and 100% USADA certified organic coffee, roast level high, end quote. For the record, I've had the first Rob, and this is from the author of the story, not me. For the record, I've had the first Rob Zombie coffee. I bought it like the fucking Monster Rock simp I am, and it wasn't bad. Nice medium flavor, not too strong, but also not lacking. A fine medium roast. So, hey, maybe this one will be good too. Check out Rob's Instagram announcement for the coffee below and get tickets to see Rob at one of his upcoming dates with Mudvayne, Static X, and Powerman 5000, which unfortunately, that was one of the ones that I remember us talking about, and they're not coming anywhere near here.
Right.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe they'll have a second leg and
maybe
make their way around.
Yeah. So yeah, go get yourself some Rob Zombie coffee. That way you can stay awake for the whole show. So
yeah.
Of course, if you need coffee to stay awake from a Rob Zombie show, you're probably in the wrong place anyway.
You're probably boring as hell. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen Rob Zombie. You don't need coffee to stay awake for that show.
You definitely don't. Especially if fucking like a UFO comes along, then he's pretty animated with that one. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess I've ran myself into a big bunch of shit here this week because like this one is kind of lengthy too. So,
that's fine.
So bear with me, guys.
That's
I know
fine.
I get a little antsy and try to speed through it sometimes. So this one is over from Blabbermouth. You might actually like this one. I actually thought it was pretty interesting to. This is going to be a little bit different than what we're normally seeing out of shows. So, season 1 of No Cover, Hit Parader's first ever music competition TV show, will premiere on Wednesday, April 20th, which is coming up this Wednesday. Alice Cooper, Bishop Briggs, Gavin Rosdale, Lizzie Hale, and Tosin Abasi serve as the judges to help find the world's next greatest unsigned original artist. Which that's the part that I liked. It's not, just me or you going out there and, performing a song to try to get, win the show. This is actually a whole artist thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're you're unsigned and you want to get signed, this is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
While most music competition shows such as American Idol and The Voice encourage musicians to cover other people's songs, No Cover spotlights artists and bands that write and record their own original music. At the end of season one, winning artists will secure a six-figure recording contract with Sumerian Records, booking agency representation from UTA, management from the Shelter Music Group, high-profile festival slots via Danny Wimmer Presents, studio time at Nightbird Recording Studios, and new gear from Gibson, brand endorsements, licensing opportunities, and more. Wow, that's pretty freaking huge. The entire season was shot last year at the legendary Troubadour in West Hollywood, California. Since 1957, the Troubadour has been at the forefront of musical discovery, from the early years of Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, and the Eagles, to the U.S. debut of Elton John, the Los Angeles headline debut of Metallica, and the debut of the Appetite for Destruction lineup of Guns N' Roses. Additionally, No Cover filmed on location at the fabled Sunset Marquis Hotel in West Hollywood, California. This exclusive sanctuary is the heart of the Sunset Strip, is a home away from home for generations of entertainers, creators and innovators, movers and magic makers. The Sunset Marquis Hotel is also home to the famed Nightbird Recording Studios, Bar 1200, and Cavatina Restaurant. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Alice Cooper is widely known as the original shock rocker, with a wildly successful career in music spanning six incredible decades, with hit songs like School's Out, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and Poison are staples of rock radio, and his iconic appearances in movies like Wayne's World and Dark Shadows have endeared him to multiple generations of fans. When No Cover was first announced in October of 2020, Cooper said, "I can't wait for No Cover. To me, a band really isn't a band unless they are writing their own material. And if you know anything about me, you may know that I have a very high standard for not only the songs but also the performance. I'm looking for the band who has it all, the one who can not only write it and play it, but perform it and make me believe it." Alt pop powerhouse Bishop Briggs has positioned herself to empower with the platinum certified viral hit River and opening for Coldplay under her belt. Bishop is showing no intentions of slowing down. "I am beyond excited to be a judge on No Cover," Briggs said. "Songwriting is such a therapeutic outlet for me to express myself, so I cannot wait to dig deep and learn more about each person who gets on that stage." As the lead vocalist, guitarist, songwriter, and founder of iconic multi-platinum rock band Bush, Rosdale has sold over 20 million records in the US and Canada alone. Bush has compiled an amazing string of 23 consecutive top 40 hit singles on the modern rock and mainstream rock charts. 11 of those hit the top five, six of which shot to number one. "Come Down," "Glycerin," "Machine Head," "Swallowed," "The Chemicals Between Us," and "The Sound of Winter." Bush released its eighth studio album, The Kingdom, in 2020. "I'm thrilled to be a part of No Cover. What a talented panel of artists to be collaborating with," said Rosdale. "We've seen the shows singing the hits, finally the chance to find a real band with their own sound and their own vision. I hope we catapult some great artists into the spotlight." Grammy Award-winning singer-guitarist Lizzie Hale brings a strong, powerful perspective to No Cover, as she's been fronting the band Hailstorm with her younger brother AJ for over 20 years. Uh, Lizzie is a leader among her peers and fearless voice for her legions of young fans. Star of many music magazine cover stories, she has won multiple industry awards such as Golden Gods and was named Loudwire's Artist of the Decade. Lizzie also has her own Gibson Artist Series guitar, the Lizzie Hale Explorer. "I'm beyond excited to join my friends, peers, and fellow rockers as a judge for Hit Parader's music competition TV show No Cover," Lizzie said. "I hope that my passion and experience will help to inspire and encourage these young bands to carve out their own path in the world." Visionary guitarist Tosin Abasi is best known for the punk metal bands Animals as Leaders, and is part owner of the custom guitar company Abasi Concepts. Tosin was named Guitarist of the Decade by Guitar World magazine and is coming off his first big role in the film Bill and Ted Face the Music. "I'm really looking forward to being on this incredible panel of judges," said Abasi. "It's the first time I've seen a show like this that actually connects the music that I'm into, so this is going to be rad." No Cover is co-hosted by singer Kelly Quinn, Sleeping with Sirens in Paradise City, and radio personality Katie Babbs from SiriusXM's Octane. with behind-the-scenes interviews conducted by music industry veteran Matt Pinfield from MTV and VH1. I'm pumped for the opportunity to co-host No Cover. I'm excited to join the artists on their journey, said Quinn. I've seen firsthand the amount of gifted musicians that are just waiting to be discovered. I'm ready for the rest of the world to share that experience, so get ready. As part of No Cover, participating artists get a chance to perform with and win prizing via a partnership with the world's most iconic American guitar brand, Gibson. The team at Gibson believes in the power of music, supporting music education, and that getting instruments into the hands of those with a desire to make music is truly life-changing event. Live events are the backbone of the entire music business, and that is why No Cover has proudly partnered with the premier independent producer of rock and alternative festivals, Danny Wimmer Presents. Of course, he is over Aftershock, Bourbon and Beyond, Epicenter, Louder Than Life, Sonic Temple, and Welcome to Rockville. Winners of the first season of No Cover will be given the opportunity to perform at a future DWP multi-day festival, which if you followed us the last few couple months, we've actually had bands on our show that I discovered at festivals. So it's a very good way to get your foot in the door, that's for sure. UTA represents pioneering artists, storytellers, entertainers, and brands. UTA's clients are some of the most acclaimed figures in film, television, news, music, sports, theater, fine arts, books, video games, podcasts, and other social and digital content. UTA is where screenplays find buyers, groundbreaking films find financing, new TV series are launched, new companies are born. UTA is proud to provide agency representation for the winner of season 1 of No Cover. Shelter Music Group is a modern music company whose primary function is artist management, but which also includes a record company, a publishing company, artist support services, marketing, branding, and online digital services. Founded by CEO Carl Stubner, Shelter works with a global roster that includes iconic artists such as Fleetwood Mac, ZZ Top, A Perfect Circle, Johnny Depp, Pele Royale, Nothing More, and the upcoming winner of the first season of No Cover. Excuse me. We are proud and excited to be part of this creative collaboration, said Stubner. There is a wealth of undiscovered talent in the rock space, and we look forward to being part of the search. Winners of the first season of No Cover will also be given a chance to record music at Nightbird Recording Studios, located within the Sunset Marquis Hotel. Nightbird celebrates multi-platinum and chart-topping projects year after year, including works with Kanye West, Ozzy Osbourne, Post Malone, and U2. No Cover is created and produced by Sumerian Records founder Ash Albertson and Golden Gods producer Josh Bernstein. No Cover will be the realest, most unfiltered representation of the biz and the quest of making it as unsigned artist, said Albertson. No music competition show has ever done what we are about to do. And that was from over at Blabbermouth, if I didn't mention that. And I need to go get my oxygen tank now. So, but it does seem like a cool show though, because I mean, like we always see like where people sing other band stuff. So for you to come out and be able to share your original works with the world, even if you don't make it, you're sharing your music with millions of people watching. So
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely gonna have some benefits, even if you're not winning.
Yeah, I was about to say I've never really sat and watched American Idol, but I do know that it's not always the winners who actually, end up making it.
Right.
Well,
I
I mean the winners always win, but what I'm saying is like, the people who finish like second or third, sometimes, they get record deals too, and they end up having a career of their own too, because
I think like the top 5 of that show actually tour or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they still get plenty of exposure, like you say, even though they didn't win. So this show, and I'll be honest, I'm not even 100% sure I'll watch it because I don't really watch those kind of shows. But that's just me. But I do like the fact that there will be bands getting exposure that they may not have gotten, otherwise. So that's definitely always a good thing. So
which is one of the reasons like we created this podcast was to
right.
try to give some knowledge out to to people that may not have heard of certain bands. And like I said, we're not perfect. We don't know all of them either, but
Mm-hmm.
which is where you guys come in and you can share your stuff with us. So
That's right.
it's a it's a it's a win-win, and if we work together. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, staying over at Metal Injection for my next one. The Agonists have recruited Pablo Haikalis of the History of Flying Objects as their live bassist for their upcoming U.S. dates. According to the Agonist usual bassist, Chris Kells is currently banned from the U.S. after an issue with improper documentation. Quote, "Hey guys, you should know that unfortunately our bassist will not be on the upcoming North America tour. Long story short, several years ago, Chris was crossing into the USA for his day job. He does video production for a living, and his employer gave him improper documentation. This resulted in him basically being forced to sign a form which banned him from entering for a determined time. Good news is you'll see him in Europe very soon." End quote. Kells also issued his own statement regarding the ban. Quote, "Well, it's been 4 years since I last had to make this post. I had hoped it would have been the first and last time I would have had to make this statement, but unfortunately, the USA Border Control Agency and I still aren't friends. I am still in the process of taking all the right measures to get rid of this awful mess that has been put over my head and hope to have it all cleared up sometime in the near future. I am deeply saddened about this whole situation. The Agonist is my baby, my family, and my everything. Nothing upsets me more than to not see everyone's beautiful faces screaming and yelling every night from the stage and meeting everyone at our merch table. This is something I've worked for my entire life, and to have it taken away from me is just heartbreaking. All this BS should be squared away soon, but until then, we have our longtime friend and amazing musician Pablo Haikalis from the History of Flying Objects once again taking the stage left for me on this U.S. run. Please welcome him with open arms and metal horns, the same you would do to me. In the meantime, I'll be home in Montreal editing some new Agonist content for you all and getting ready for our kick-ass run in Europe. I can't wait to be back up there with everyone's after such a long break. See you all this summer." End quote. The Agonist will hit the road in a few weeks with Hypocrisy, Karak, Angren, and Hideous Divinity. So have all your P's and Q's taken care of at the border, guys.
right.
Just saying.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Well,
apparently that guy got banned from the U.S. for 5 years.
wow.
And I'm still not even 100% sure what kind of documentation was improper. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's kind of fucked up because he got it from his employer. You figured his employer would have all that shit in order to where that wouldn't happen to one of their employees. That's kind of fucked up.
Let's see your papers.
Yeah. Let us see your papers.
All right, sticking with blabbermouth on this story, a little less lengthy, so maybe I can get it. In an interview with Mike McMahon of San Antonio, current arch enemy singer Alyssa White Lewis spoke about whether there will be another wave of metal bands who are able to ascend to an arena level status to take the place of like Metallica, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest upon their retirement. She said, quote, "I was just talking about that yesterday because I was with Nurgle, Behemoth frontman, and Michael Amott, arch enemy guitarist, at the Southern California stop of the Bay Strikes Back tour, which is Testament, Exodus, and Death Angel. We were talking about it, and there's a bit of concern, actually, for what is going to step in as fantastic music. Even if you go a little beyond metal, Aerosmith, let's say, once these bands have to stop for whatever reason, Arch Enemy is right there waiting to step in," and she laughs. But there is a little bit of concern on my end, not to say that modern music isn't fantastic, because it is. It's more that the consumption of music is less focused on the quality of the songwriting and the musicianship and the lyrics, and it's a little bit more focused on the virality of the song and made for a very short attention span. And that's not the fault of the musicians. That's just the way the world is. So I'm a little concerned about maybe not having really excellent music in, let's say, 50 years. She continued, "I'm a little worried about the era of bands might actually come to a close because even the era of touring bands is not very old. If you read the Keith Richards biography, he talks about the Rolling Stones being one of the first touring bands, and I would hate to see that go away. I hope that there will be a renewed enthusiasm for live metal music. When I was watching the audience in that sold out House of Blues Anam show that the with the Bay Strikes Back, I was seeing everyone in the audience just loving it and having this spiritual moment in the crowd while Exodus was playing. I don't want to go to a dance club. I don't want to go to a bar. I want to go to a show, Alyssa added. There's a good chunk of really established metal bands that have been going for 20, 25 years, and we built up a really great performance and a really great set. I understand that Slayer can't do it anymore, but there's definitely some concern that we're going to have a moment where the masters are no longer there. A year ago, Fozzy singer and wrestling superstar Chris Jericho also expressed his concern about newer artists being able to headline arenas and festivals one day. He told YouTuber and music industry expert Rick Beto, "It's kind of scary. I was talking to Gene Simmons about this. I go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame every year, and NWA was on, and they said everyone says that rap is dead, or we say rock is dead, or whatever. And Gene said every type of music eventually dies. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, look at swing music and polka music and the guys playing lutes by the fire. All of that kind of slowly goes away. And I'm starting to wonder, was he right about rock and roll? Because when I was a kid, everybody was in a band. I remember jocks. I remember guys who were on a football team that bought a guitar and would come jam. Meanwhile, all the rockers, there was 4 or 5 bands in my high school alone. Now my son is 17 and my twin daughters are 14. I don't know any of them who play music or any of their friends. So the scary thing is this. I was talking to UK concert promoter Andy Cupping on my podcast, Talking Jericho, when Download got canceled in 2020, which is the biggest festival in England. 100,000 people go there. And I said to Andy, who is going to headline Download in 10 years? Because now you can still rely on Metallica, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, System of a Down, or Reunited, or Faith No More, or those type bands. Avenged Sevenfold are building in Slipknot, but who is the next generation of these bands? Because with an exception of a Greta Van Fleet and the Struts and a couple of others, there's not a lot of new rock and roll bands. Whereas before there'd be 40 or 50 and you could keep up with all of them. Arch Enemy's 11th studio album, Deceivers, will arrive on July 29th via Century Media Records. This spring, Arch Enemy and Behemoth will return to the States, co-headlining the North American Siege 2022 tour with Napalm Death and Unto Others as special guests before Arch Enemy appears at select summer festivals. The rescheduled European Siege 2022 tour with Arch Enemy, Behemoth, Carcass, and Unto Others will kick off in the fall. Which I think we covered that a couple weeks ago. But
I think so, yeah.
But we talk about this too. It's like to me, there's so much out there you can't keep up with right now. So I don't see it dying. I mean, I really don't.
Well,
I don't. Maybe we don't have the bands, the caliber of a Metallica, but it's just I don't think it's dying. I mean,
no, I don't think it's ever going to completely die out, but I guess there could be a case made for the next generation of iconic bands coming up.
Well, true.
So, really only time is going to tell for that one, because there may be the next generation of the stadium headliners that just haven't made it yet. But because what did she say? She said she was worried about 50 years down the line.
Yeah, like 40 or 50 years down the road, which we probably won't even be around anyway. So,
well, yeah, you and I probably won't be, but at the same time, I mean, I guess the concern would be genuine. I mean, if we're talking decades down the line, then yeah, I guess the concern would be there. But I mean, at the same time, in all honesty, who knows if a band like Eyes of the Living or One of the Last doesn't hit and end up, and making it big. You never know. Or even like that show you were just talking about, you never know. So hopefully, but you never know.
But we got bands like Tetrarch that gives me that
right,
that sign that there still could be those bands out there. So I mean,
there are signs that the bands
Tetrarch's a young band. I mean, they're probably late, mid to late 20s. So
yeah.
Speaking of which, I forgot about Diamond Rose. She actually had a birthday on the 7th of April, which I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. Happy birthday to
yeah. Happy birthday to her.
Yeah.
I mean, So I mean, I guess I'm, obviously in 50 years, Metallica and Iron Maiden and those guys are going to be physically gone.
Well,
So
yeah,
you won't be able to, obviously you won't be able to see them anymore. But I mean, as you and I and everybody out there knows, sitting there listening to the music with, your earbuds in is 100% different than actually being able to experience it live. So, I
mhm.
mean, yeah, I mean, eventually those guys aren't going to be around. The legacy they leave behind is going to be unquestioned. But yeah, I guess you can kind of wonder who was going to be next. Who's going to be that 100 million plus, album selling, worldwide phenomenon. But I mean, I guess you worry about that when the time comes. I mean, there's no way to predict the future. So I mean, you just enjoy who we have right now while we have them. I'm still holding out hope that I'll get to see Ozzy one more time. So but Slayer's gone, you know, as we know it. And of course, Pantera's is no more as we know it. Metallica's still around, Maiden's still around. Maiden's going to die on stage. I guarantee you one of them
Oh
is
well, yeah,
probably,
yeah. Bruce
I mean,
Dickinson's going to have a heart attack running
yeah,
it. So.
I mean, they've basically said as much. Iron Maiden's probably going to die on stage. Priest is still around. So, we
Well,
have
look at
to, we have
well
to
look at
enjoy them while
well
we
look at
have them.
well look at Alice Cooper. He's still touring, and he's
Yeah.
70 something. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that these guys aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still out there, keeping it alive for
Yeah.
everybody. So I mean,
Yeah. So, but at the same time, there's going to be it's going to take, it's going to have to, there's really going to be more than one factor. It's going to
mhm,
be the fans. It's going to be the industry, whether or not the record industry even exists at all in the future. And then it's going to be, there's going to be promoters. So, I mean, it's not really, it's really not going to be on the bands, whether or not the bands make it, you know, the way technology is now, and I can only imagine the way technology is going to be in that 40 or 50 year, time frame that Alyssa was referring to. The way we have access to all of this music now, I can only imagine how quickly you're going to be able to access music that far down the line. So basically, it's not really going to be up to the bands whether or not the bands are popular enough to be as popular as the bands we have now, the Metallicas, the Iron Maidens, the Judas Priests, and shit like that. It's going to be up to basically, people like you and me, the people who are the ones going to be paying to go see the bands. They're going to have to buy the music. They're going to have to be the reason why the bands make it even more than now,
mhm.
because there really aren't record companies anymore paying these guys millions of dollars like they were back in the day. These guys have to get out and tour to make their money now, and that's the way that bands ultimately are getting exposure. So it's going to evolve even further, but it's like I say, not to get redundant here, but it's not going to be up to the bands. It's going to be up to the people, really.
Yeah, and I think one of the another new band that we follow. I follow them is Plush, and that's I mean they're in there. I think the one girl just turned like 20. So I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that's a band that's going to be around for a while. So.
And they haven't even come out with their first LP yet.
No, no, and they've already opened up for like Non-Point and
Yeah.
been on the Jericho cruise. I mean
Hmm.
they've out, but they're out there already. So I mean, that's pretty big to not even have your debut album released.
Yeah.
There is hope. I mean,
Yeah.
like like she said, I guess she's worried more about somebody becoming that big. I don't know if we will ever see anybody as big as Metallica in our lifetime. I mean,
And we
uh,
and we may not, but at the same time, I don't think a band necessarily is going to have to be that big to
no. Well, it's
to
what you.
you know to to make it. You're
Well,
not
it's
going to
kind
have
of
to be that big.
it's kind of what you were saying though. Is things have changed the way you get music now.
Hmm.
So Metallica, spent the better part of their first 5 albums not having to worry about any of that streaming stuff. So people had to go out and buy hard copies.
Hmm.
so they
Yeah.
were probably making more money that way.
Hmm.
Uh, and of course, people are still buying, some of those albums. So they're still making money. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that has a lot. I mean, if you're getting, 0.007 cents for every download instead of 2 cents for every album sale, that's a big difference. So it doesn't sound
Yeah.
like a lot, but it's a big difference.
Yeah. That's actually going to have to be something that I think is going to have to change
It
moving
is,
forward.
yeah.
That's something that's going to have to change. But what I do like, and I think something that's going to have to keep happening, is the amount of festivals. Whether the amount of festivals that happen here in the United States seems to be growing, which is good. Like you talked about the Jericho Cruise, stuff like that needs to keep happening. All of the festivals over in Europe, those need to keep happening, because eventually the bands that are on the lower end of the bill, with as many festivals as there are, some of those are going to be the risers. So some
Hmm.
of those are going to be the ones that go from the bottom of the bill in 10 years time, maybe 15 years time, are going to be the guys at the top. So someone's going to have to fill in the bottom. There's going to have to be another generation that comes in behind. There's going to have to be churn. There's going to have to be. So, the Metallicas, the Slayers, not anymore, but those kind of bands, those are the guys at the top now. The guys at the mid card and bottom card guys are going to have to. There's going to have to be some that rise back to the top. There's going to have to be some new bands that fill in behind, and it's going to have to churn. So
So
the festivals and stuff like that, those have to stay viable.
So here's another thing. I know you don't like the band, and I don't either. But Greta Van Fleet
Yeah.
are doing something that will probably be what we're talking about now will be going on in 40 or 50 years, because they took, and they sound a lot like Led Zeppelin, which
Hmm.
Led Zeppelin was in the 70s, so that's 50 years ago. So if
Right.
you think 40 or 50 years from now, you're going to have a band that probably sounds just like Metallica, that a lot of people aren't going to be like, oh, well, that sounds like Metallica, because a lot of people that knew Metallica probably aren't going to be around in 50 years. So,
Yeah.
so
It's a possibility. And yeah, you're right. I'm not a fan of theirs, but I mean, they seem to have gained a following. So,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like you even though you sound like Led Zeppelin, you still have a great following,
mhm.
and you're still making a living doing
Yeah.
what you love to do. So I mean, there is hope. If you just use that example, I mean, 50 years from now, like I said, is you know will anybody ever sound like Dave Mustaine? I doubt it,
Probably not.
but maybe a James Hetfield,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of covers out there that sound. I was like, man, that sounds just like James, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's hope. I mean,
I think
never
so.
give. I don't think we should ever give up hope.
No.
So
No, it's just things will, I mean, like I say, the way that we're getting music now has evolved from the way that that you and I got it, 2-3 decades ago. And the way people get it 2-3 decades from now is going to evolve. So
mhm.
people people
Well,
love people love music.
I
And
mean, it's
the
evolved, but I still got a CD in the mail the other day.
right, but at the same time,
Uh,
you can still do it that way, but you also just can't shoot over to the mall and pick it up. You actually have to order it. So I mean, it's still available, but the way you get it has evolved. So,
and
and
what's
it,
up?
it
And what's so crazy is, like, I know I've rented the last couple of cars I've rented don't have CD players in them.
right.
So I mean, that's
Yeah.
a thing that's going away too,
Hmm.
which I think is crappy, because I think you should be able uh, to just throw in a CD and just let it play. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that I have to like pair up and all that bullshit. So
Yeah.
sometimes I don't. I just don't want to do all that. I just want to throw it in and listen. So
Yeah. So I still think, the music's not gonna die out. The question of who's gonna be the flag bearer is a valid question. I think it's a
it
valid.
is. Yeah, it's definitely a valid question. And I mean,
Yeah.
we still. I mean, hopefully, like bands like Angela Sapatrita. I mean, so I mean, those guys just need to get more known over here in the states, and they could very well be a contender
Yeah.
for headlining a bunch of shit. So I mean, we still got like bands like Five Finger and Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, we still got some pretty big bands that are in their early 40s. So I mean,
Yeah.
they're probably going to be around another 20, 25 years at least. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right, staying over at Metal Injection for me. This one is take it for what you will. So I mean, this is an interesting story. Whether or not it holds water or not, you'll have to just you'll just have to make that decision for yourself. But I saw it and I got a chuckle out of it. So Megadeth just hit the road for their metal tour of the year alongside Lamb of God, Trivium, and In Flames, concert we're going to in 3 weeks. Thank you very much. On the second night of the tour on April 10th at the Tucson Arena in Tucson, Arizona, Mustaine told the crowd the story of the time that he had to pee on the bathroom floor of the White House. Blabbermouth points out that the incident likely occurred in 1992 when Mustaine was at the White House with the Rock the Vote movement. Quote, I want you guys to know that I've lived through a lot of different eras in the United States and seen different things. And one thing that makes me the most proud of everything here in our country is you guys, the way that you are handling yourselves and the way as a and the way that as the metal community, there's a lot of people that go out there and say things and they totally embarrass themselves. And I want you guys to know how proud I am to represent you. When I went up to the White House, I was so proud to be able to go up there and say, fuck you. You think we're stupid? We're not stupid. By the way, when I went into the White House, I went into the royal, whatever the fuck it's called, White House bathroom, and I peed on the floor. I had to, end quote. Check out the video below. Special shout out to the dude that keeps telling, weren't you in Metallica? Prior to Mustaine talking. Real clever stuff. Catch Megadeth on tour at one of the dates below, or you might hear a new single off the band's coming, the Sick, the Dead, and the Dying record. So, like I say, take that story for what you will. I think if anybody probably would have pissed on the floor of the White House bathroom, it probably would have been Dave Mustaine. But who knows? Who knows for sure if that really happened? But I just got a kick out of it, so thought I'd share that with you guys. So
that's pretty funny. I wouldn't put it past him, especially at that time of his life.
No, I wouldn't have put it past him at all.
All right, this one is over from Loudwire as well. This is actually a kind of a feel good story from a tragedy, so I always like those. But 3 Days Grace are showing some grace, shining a spotlight on the city of Mayfield, Kentucky, which late last year took the brunt of one of the most deadliest tornadoes in recent history. The band's new video for a lifetime finds singer Matt Walsh, as well as members of the Mayfield community, walking among the ruins of last December's EF4 tornado. On December 10th, 2021, heavy storms started to wreak havoc on the Midwestern states of Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi. But the town that took the most severe damage was Mayfield, Kentucky, when the tornado struck. As seen in the video, there is a video over at Loudwire if you want to look at that. Our radio reports and that's just detailed that the 730 structures within the town were destroyed, with 847 families displaced as a result. But the volunteer outpouring in the aftermath has been impressive and inspired hope amidst the destruction. For the new John Volpine directed video Lifetime, a song which speaks to the sometimes sudden life altering events, 3 Days Grace singer Matt Walsh is shown walking through the city streets where trees have been severed, houses demolished, and very little was left standing. The clip also shows some of the outcome with the local rescue shelter filled with animals that were also displaced after the tornado. 3 Days Grace are doing their part, getting the word out on how fans can donate to the Mayfield Tornado Relief GoFundMe campaign, as well as funding that can assist Mayfield Independent School District students. The band is also taking things a step further by donating $1 from every ticket sold on their U.S. tour to these organizations as well. Speaking of touring, the band has extended their touring into the summer and fall. Wage War and 0936 will be joining the band for dates in July and August, while the Warning and the Standstills will be on board for touring in Canada this fall. You can see all the dates listed below and get ticketing info there. Fan pre-sales begin April 12th with the pre-sale code Lifetime, which it's passed already. The general on sale for Canada will start on Thursday, April 15th, or April 14th, sorry, which was this past Thursday. While general go on sale for U.S. concert goers on Friday, yesterday. So there are also VIP packages available. You can pick up the song Lifetime via various platforms. while the band's new Explosions album due out May 6th is available on pre-order as well. So good for them. They're actually giving back to a community that's not even really theirs. So,
Yeah, I remember seeing basically that town more or less literally got blown off the
oh
fucking
yeah,
map when that
it's
tornado
like
blew
nothing.
through. Yeah, I remember seeing the footage of that after that storm blew through. I was like, holy shit, the town is just basically gone.
Yeah,
It was nuts. You could just see nothing but obviously just piles of rubble and nothing but foundations left. It was crazy.
yeah, it just got mowed over.
Yeah. Damn, nature, you scary. So
Yeah.
fucking hell.
Yeah. It was we had a kind of I don't know how bad it was over your way, but it was kind of scary the other night here. So, my garage door was breathing. I was like, oh shit. So,
Mm-hmm.
so, I mean, it's a pretty scary feeling with Mother Nature because you never know what to expect, and you don't. Meteorologists can try to pick a path, but sometimes they're pretty accurate. But a tornado can change direction in a moment's notice. So
Yeah, it can.
just the wind blow a certain opposite way and then shoot it over left field real quick. So
Yeah, they can be really hard to track. So,
yeah.
So yeah. All right, I've got one that I literally just found a second ago while you were reading that story, and this one will kind of probably hit close to home for you. You'll probably get a kick out of it. This one is over at wearethepit.com. For many of us, listening to music helps the workday go by, and for some folks, they'd really like to listen to some System of a Down. However, when one Amazon warehouse employee decided to play a System of a Down song over the Amazon warehouse speakers where they work, the company wasn't too happy. TikTok user Viva La Habibi Monica uploaded a video of someone attempting to play the System of a Down song Chop Suey over Amazon warehouse speakers. The video captures a few seconds of the System of a Down song Chop Suey just before it is abruptly cut. Per the text on the TikTok video, quote, our Amazon warehouse played System of a Down not even for a minute before they changed it because it was inappropriate. Per the text caption associated with this video, the TikTok user wrote, quote, that's the last time I may make a suggestion, at System of a Down, and a bunch of fucking hashtags at the end. And then after the System of a Down song Chop Suey gets turned off, the TikTok user shares a more laid-back pop tune that is being played per the on-screen text associated with this moment. Quote, how do you go from System of a Down to this? Yawn. That same TikTok user uploaded another TikTok video that features music from Tame Impala. I don't know what the fuck that is. In the text associated with that video, they wrote the following, quote, surprised our Amazon warehouse played Tame Impala and not the usual top 40s radio BS that fries my brain like an egg. You can find both of these videos below. Music can help make the work environment much more peaceful and chill. For some folks, that music can be nu metal or even death metal. Maybe somewhere out there's an employer who is fine with having System of a Down blasted over speakers. So, like I say, I don't know if you guys get to listen to music, at the warehouse where you guys work, but yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. I literally just saw that a second ago. So,
actually, did it say where that was at?
No, it didn't. It didn't say which warehouse it was.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious if it's even in the States because I know it's like the reason we can't do that is because of safety issues, being that fire alarms and stuff like weather alerts or whatever. If the alarms go off, you can't hear them. So and a prime example of that is I was in management at my last building, so we actually had a fire drill, and we were actually clearing the floors to make sure nobody stragglers were there, and a guy's just steadily picking orders, man, with both earphones in his ears. Like, dude, I'm like, dude, did you not hear any of this? No. I said, well, that's why you don't wear headphones. But yeah, so I mean, it's I don't know, it's a fine line, I guess. I understand that it does make people more productive, I think, being able to listen to music. But like I said, you have to look out for safety reasons, especially when you're a bigger company like that, because people are just going to, how people are, any moment's notice to look for a opportunity to sue. That's what they're going to go do. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well,
I get it. So
yeah, we actually do have music that plays where I work. It's not, don't get me wrong, it's not blaring. I mean, you can You know,
Right.
there's speakers strategically placed in the warehouse. I mean, it's loud enough to where you can hear it and you know what song is playing. But when we have fire drills or when the fire alarm goes off, you have no problem hearing it. So
Hmm.
it's definitely nothing that's, the music we do get to listen to. It's nowhere near the volume where it's, a
And,
distraction.
and I think that's
But
something because, like, when you're out into like in the warehouse at Amazon, there's stations set up for problem solve areas. So if you run into an issue or whatever, you can call somebody from a radio and say, "Hey, can somebody meet me here? I got this problem."
yeah.
And there's like this two four. I want to say there's 8 per floor.
Hmm.
So I mean that's a pretty significant amount if you think about it. But there's 8 of those per floor, and there's on 3 floors. So if you got a speaker at each of those locations, I mean, I think you could probably get away with that.
Yeah.
Kind of like you said, if you play it at a level where it's not overpowering an alarm system.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't blare it. I mean, it needs to be just kind of in the background where you can still hear it, maybe bob your head to it. But I mean, yeah, it can't be, over. Now, we, when a few years ago when I was working at GM, we had speakers on the line and we would play those motherfuckers as loud as we could.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Same when I was at Nissan. Yeah, we did the
yeah,
same thing there. We
yeah.
had a little mobile like dolly, push it out there, and had their little speaker boxes built.
Oh yeah.
The,
We had those
off,
we had
off
those
of a
damn things
battery.
as Yeah, we had those damn things as loud as we could get them to go.
Yeah, they were. We had them pretty loud. So,
Yeah.
all right. So this kind of story leads off from what we were just talking about. Maryland Death Fest 2022 could be the annual Extreme Metal Festival's final year, as its organizers reveal in a statement explaining the 2023 edition wouldn't move forward. Instead, the fest will go on hiatus. However, Maryland Death Fest, hold on, 18? Yeah, 18 is still on for, this in Roman numerals, I had to count. It's still on for May 26th through the 29th in Baltimore, Maryland. The event's home base since the first Death Fest here in 2003. This year will be its first back since missing 2021 and 2020 due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Scheduled bands include Carcass, Dismember, Obituary, Hellhammer, Hypocrisy, Triptychon, Violence, Mortician, Blood Incantation, Graveyard, Acid Witch, and many more. End quote. Quote, sorry. Quote, we're sorry to inform you that we will not be organizing any festivals at all in 2023, including Maryland Death Fest, end quote, its founder, Ryan Taylor and Evan Harding said on April 9th. There's a chance that 2022 could be the last edition of Maryland Death Fest, but we're unable to determine that right now, one way or the other. They added, we're going on hiatus and we'll decide during this much needed break if the festival will return in 2024. They also addressed the many variables that could affect that decision. Metal events associated with the Maryland Death Fest include UK Death Fest and Netherlands Death Fest, which have installments planned this year as well. So there's one of the things we were just talking about. As long as those festivals keep going,
Mm-hmm.
the court. Unfortunately, this one may have seen the end, but we'll see how that
Yeah,
works
and that
out.
stinks.
It does, yeah. Like I said, we're not death fans, but death metal fans. But I do like some Obituary. So,
Well, Violence was on that tour too. So
yeah. So
so
yeah,
it's not just
like
wasn't just a strictly across the board a
death
death
metal.
metal death metal death metal lineup. So you know, so yeah, that sucks. But I mean, and that sucks for death metal fans. So I
It
mean,
does, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure they don't have a whole lot that comes around anyway.
no,
I'm
well,
surprised.
definitely not in the United States. Definitely not over here.
I'm actually surprised of how many of those bands come to Nashville. Like I know,
It's
like
true.
we've covered a few like recently. I'm like, I would have never thought they would be in Nashville. Like that's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah,
But hey, whatever. We'll take what we can get. So
absolutely.
you said you didn't have anything else, or
Yeah, that was actually my last one. I thought I had one more. I was looking through there. I was like, oh shit, I'm done. But then I found the Amazon one. So yeah, I am
I,
finished.
I got one more. So this
Okay.
one's from Metalheads Forever magazine, another outlet that I don't usually get a lot of news from. I get a lot of touring from them, but not a lot of news. So this one's kind of cool to get some actual news from them.
Nice.
So ahead of the two bands sharing the stage for two shows in Germany this July, Powerwolf will be the second in-game collaboration of 2022 for Iron Maiden's Legacy of the Beast free-to-play mobile game. Following successful collaborations last year with Amon Amarth, Lacuna Coil, and Ghost, and most recently with Disturbed, Iron Maiden's Legacy of the Beast team created a new character and storyline borrowing from Powerwolf's latest album, Call of the Wild. The new limited time in game event called Macht der Wolf, German for Power of the Wolf, features a limited time character, Varkalak. Varkalak. Uh, when it came to seeing Varkalak in Eddie's world for the first time, Powerwolf lead singer Attila Dorn says, "We, damn, that's cool. I didn't realize his name was Attila. That's cool as shit. We were breathless and stunned when we saw the first iteration and scene of the game featuring our Varkalak. Um, and most of all, we couldn't wait to play it ourselves." Attila continues, "When I was a young kid listening to my Iron Maiden tapes all day, I would have never dreamed of playing the same stage one day, being invited to support Iron Maiden with my band. Is there anything more a metalhead could dream of?" Lead guitarist for Powerwolf, Matthew Greywolf, says, "Iron Maiden songs and melodies are immortal. The neat combination of melody and heaviness is still as revolutionary as it was when we first heard Iron Maiden at 11 years old. I was truly fascinated by it all, and I still am." Keyboardist Falk Maria Schlegel continues, "I would say Bruce Dickinson is my major influence in all that I'm doing on stage with my whole performance. Still a great inspiration, so thank you, Bruce." Navigator Games CEO Will Morris says the fans and players have been absolutely thrilled to see their favorite bands partner with Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast. Over the past year, our players have kept hinting at Powerwolf. We hope that they're pleased to see Powerwolf's iconic mascot brought to life on this epic adventure. Meet Varkalak in Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast mobile game. Players earn the Varkalak character for free by logging in a total of 7 days from now, receiving Varkalak on the final day. Ends May 12th at 2 p.m. CET. I don't know what CET is. Wow, that's interesting. Central Europe time?
I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know.
In this storyline, Varkalak and Van Helsing Eddie cross paths in the catacombs of Dracula's dungeon. Varkalak has just escaped Professor Parabiosis. I'm gonna guess that's what it is. An evil doctor wanting to conduct experiments on him because of his extraordinary powers. He asked Van Helsing Eddie to join him in defeating the evil doctor. Van Helsing Eddie soon realizes that Barkalak is fighting his own internal struggle between good and evil, and they soon realize that the professor has a more sinister plan in mind than just a mere dissection. In Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast, metal and RPG gaming fans take on the role of the band's iconic mascot, Eddie, who travels across a spectacularly diverse array of worlds by traveling through time in captivating 3D environments. Eddie appears in many forms, each a part of Iron Maiden's rich history, and each with a set of special powers and abilities. For more information or to play the game, you can go to www.ironmaidenlegacy.com. So another iconic icon, I guess, to, to
Yeah.
join the video game there. So our mobile game, which I've yet to play.
I haven't either. Yeah.
Maybe I may try to download it on my tablet and see what it's all about. So
Yeah.
cool stuff. All right. Well, I guess with that being said, uh, we can jump into some history here.
Sounds good.
I guess I'll kick it off here.
Cool.
We got 2 weeks of it, 2 weeks worth of it here. So,
Yeah, we do.
So it's a little bit. So kick it off from, I can't remember, what was it, April
April 2nd.
2nd?
Yeah, April 2nd.
For some reason, I got the 3rd on here. Was Sunday the 3rd?
Hang on, let me look. Oh yeah, Sunday was the 3rd. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes, and I'm looking at my history, my
Because
album.
you have some that kind of lay over. So
yeah, so yeah, it's the 3rd through the 15th,
the 16th. Yeah, well,
or
I got
through today,
16th.
3rd through the 16th. Yeah.
All right, so mine don't kick off till the 4th. So April 4th, 2007, a Swedish couple ran into trouble with authorities after trying to name their baby Metallica. Michael and Carolina Tomorrow went to court with the country's national tax authority about naming their daughter after the rock band. The 6-month-old had been baptized Metallica, but tax officials said the name was inappropriate under Swedish law. Both first names and surnames need to win the approval of authorities before they can be used. Wow, that's crazy. So that could very well happen in the states, though. So
I'll be honest. I kind of wish that would happen a little bit more often in this country.
All right, April 5th, 1994, Kurt Cobain committed suicide by shooting himself in the head at his home in Seattle. Cobain's body wasn't discovered until April 8th by an electrician who had arrived to install a security system, who initially believed that Cobain was asleep until he saw the gunshot pointing at his chin. Not to mention probably the brains scattered on the back wall, but a suicide note was found that said, "I haven't felt the excitement of listening to as well as creating music along with really writing for too many years now." A high concentration of heroin and traces of Valium were found in Cobain's body. His death was officially ruled a suicide by self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Just before I carry on, April is not a good month to the hard rock heavy metal industry. I'm just going to tell you, you'll definitely see what I'm talking about when coming up. So. April 5th, 1998, British drummer Cozy Powell, known as Colin Flutes, was killed when his car smashed into crash barriers on the M4 motorway near Bristol, England. Powell had worked with the Jeff Beck group Whitesnake, Black Sabbath, Rainbow, Brian May, Peter Green, and the ELP spinoff Emerson, Lake and Powell. Powell, known as one of the most driving drummers in rock, had also had hits as a solo artist, including Dance with the Devil and The Man in Black, and also fronted his own band, Cozy Powell's Hammer. April 5th, 2002, American singer Lane Staley of Alice in Chains was found dead from a mixture of heroin and cocaine in his home. It was reported that the 6-foot Staley weighed only 86 pounds when his body was discovered. His body was partially decomposed when he was found. Medical examiners had to identify it by dental records.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't know that.
That's freaking ridiculous. Good God. April 5th, 2007, former Kiss guitarist Mark St. John died of apparent brain hemorrhage at the age of 51. St. John was Kiss's third official guitarist, having replaced Vinnie Vincent in 1984 and appeared on the album Animalize. April 5th, 2012, Jim Marshall, who made rock and roll rawer and noisier by inventing the Marshall amplifier, died at a hospice in London at age 88. His amplifiers and speakers, known as Marshall stacks, were used by Hendrix, Clapton, Jimmy Page, and almost every other major rock guitarist in the 60s and 70s, and by the next generation of guitarists as well, including Kurt Cobain, Eddie Van Halen, and Slash. So he will always be embroidered in musical history because they still make Marshall amps.
Yeah, they do.
April 6, 1998, Wendy O. Williams, former singer of the Plasmatics, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Williams was known for her wild stage theatrics, which included blowing up equipment, near nudity, and chainsawing guitars. In January 1981, police in Milwaukee arrested her for simulating sex on stage. Later that same year, in Cleveland, Ohio, Williams was acquitted of an obscenity charge for simulating sex on stage wearing only shaving cream. And that girl was wild, boy.
Yeah, she was.
But you see where I'm going with it. Like, I haven't even got to the 7th yet, and we've already reported 6 deaths. So metal too much,
It's,
evidently.
it is always weird how you look at stuff like that and it just seems to happen in a concentrated time period. It's really, really weird.
And you can't say it happens in threes because it's all different years. So
Mhm.
it's like, it's not like it's the same year.
Right.
April 7, 1988, during a European tour, Alice Cooper accidentally hung himself in a rehearsal when a safety rope snapped. He dangled for several seconds before a roadie saved him. So if you don't think a roadie's job is not important.
Yeah, no shit.
April 7, 1990, Motley Crue's Tommy Lee was injured when performing a stunt during a concert, falling 20 feet from a lighting rig. Luckily, he only suffered a mild concussion. That's because he landed penis first. But,
Yeah.
oh, man. That's 20 feet from a lighting rig. Could you imagine? And like they actually said he went head first to the floor. So, and only get a mild concussion from that?
Yeah.
That Aquanet was good back in the 90s, man.
Right. Yeah, he had a helmet on. Yeah.
Oh, man. April 7th, 1994. But just going back, man, like that band has been through so much shit. Like, how in the hell are they alive? I have no idea. Well, besides Nikki Sixx actually dying, twice.
Yeah.
April 7, 1994, Courtney Love was arrested on drugs and theft charges after a reported overdose. This is one of the reasons I reported this story because at the time, Love was unaware that her husband, Kurt Cobain, was dead at their home. His body wasn't discovered until April 8th by an electrician who had arrived to install a security system at their house. Of course, I just said that. But how do you, like, we've all, like, had our suspicions about her and his death. But I don't know, man. To be there I think he actually died the 5th, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I think it was the 4th or 5th. Let me see. Yeah, the 5th. So she already spent 2 days not knowing he was dead, and then the 3rd day, an electrician had to find. So 3 days away from him, and that just seems kind of, I don't know, definitely suspicious to me that you're gone that whole time.
Yeah, I don't know.
April the 8th, 1994, electrician Gary Smith, who was working at Kurt Cobain's house, discovered Kurt Cobain's body lying on the floor in the greenhouse. Yeah, I know it's going to be repetitive, but there's like it kind of gives extra to the story.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah.
Local radio station KXRX broke the news at 9:40 a.m. that the Nirvana singer and guitarist was dead. A shotgun was found next to Cobain's body. A suicide note found, of course, which we already said that now, and a high concentration of heroin and traces of Valium were also found. So it's just kind of ongoing of the domino effect there.
Mm-hmm.
April 8th, 2002, Marilyn Manson denies claims that he was responsible for the death of a woman after a party at his mansion in 2001. Jennifer Syme, a former girlfriend of actor Keanu Reeves, died when her Jeep Cherokee hit 3 parked cars. Her mother, Maria St. John, was suing the singer for wrongful death, claiming Manson was negligent in instructing the woman to operate a motor vehicle while in her incapacitated state. Man, I just reading that kind of made me feel bad for Keanu Reeves because, man, that dude's been through some shit too, man.
Yeah.
If anybody should be mad at God, man, he is. And to be like the person he is, though, means a lot, though. Get it dealt the hands that he's been dealt, and he still gives back, and kind of a good, just an all around good guy. So
yeah, Keanu's a national treasure.
That's right. Yeah. April 9th, 2004, Motley Crue singer Vince Neil pleaded no contest to battery charges after accusations that he assaulted a sex worker at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, a legal licensed brothel in Mound House, Nevada, by grabbing the woman around the throat and throwing her against a wall. Neil was sentenced to a 30-day jail suspension, 60 days anger management, and was fined $1,000. The shit that guy has gotten away with, though, through his lifetime is just fucking amazing to me.
Yeah.
You drive a car, kill a guy, slap on the wrist. What the fuck?
I know. It's crazy.
All because you're a rock star. Should not give you a right to do things. I'm sorry.
No, shouldn't.
April 10th, 1982, Iron Maiden scored their first UK #1 album with The Number of the Beast. The band's third studio album saw the debut of vocalist Bruce Dickinson and the final appearance of the late drummer Clive Burr. This was their first album to reach #1 in the UK album charts and be certified platinum in the US. I find it hard to believe that was their first one to hit #1 in UK, man. Cause by that time, they already had a damn jet, didn't they?
What would you say it was? 1982?
82, yeah. So maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, their first album only came out in 1980, so.
Yeah. They didn't play around, though. That was their third one, so they year after year after year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is a little bit different than the way they move these days. But
it is. Absolutely.
April 10th, 2005, the final episode of The Osbournes was aired on MTV in the UK. The show reached a peak audience of 8 million at its height during a 3-year run. Ozzy Osbourne was at a loss to explain its popularity, saying, "I suppose Americans get a kick out of watching a crazy Brit family like us make complete fools of ourselves every week." Oh, man.
Yeah.
Sharad. April 11, 1977, Alice Cooper played to an audience of 40,000 people in Sydney, Australia, the largest crowd to attend a rock concert in the country's history. After the show, Cooper was placed under house arrest at his hotel until he posted a bond for $59,632. That amount was a sum that a promoter claimed to have paid Cooper for a 1975 Australia tour he never made. The two settled when it was found that the promoter did not fulfill his part of the agreement either. So,
nice. That's probably why he didn't get paid.
Yeah, fucking promoters.
Yeah. Yeah, you know about promoters.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, man. I could tell stories about that all day. But like the fact that we're sitting waiting to get paid and like, hey, where's Mike at? Oh man, he left like an hour ago. Like, what the fuck? like there's like 10 guys down there waiting to get paid.
or the fact that a certain promoter that you know always had to be the champion.
Oh well, yeah, that's true too. So that's a whole another ball game there.
Yeah, that's a different organization, but yeah.
April the 12th, 2000, Metallica filed a suit against Napster, Yale University, and the University of Southern California and Indiana University for copyright infringement, which we know the old Napster story, which is probably why Metallica is worth so much money because they didn't make 0.007 cents on a download.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about Lars and everything that happened at the time, but they were looking out for themselves, you know. They really were.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't worth $300 million then, so
yeah, they were looking out for themselves. So,
April 13, 1993, the first Aerosmith Day was observed at the Commonwealth of Massachusetts after the band were given their very own holiday. April 13, 2008, producer and drummer Clifford Davies was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in his home in Atlanta at age 59. Davies had worked with Ted Nugent from 79 to 82. It was reported that Davies was extremely distraught over outstanding medical bills. So, like I said, it's like just gunshot after gunshot here. And last but not least, April 16th, 1993, I always report this story because I think it was just hilarious. But David Lee Roth was arrested in New York's Washington Square Park for allegedly buying a $10 bag of marijuana.
Jesus.
Nothing like getting arrested over $10 worth of weed. It's like, what are you in for, a dime bag? The fuck?
And I don't even, I've never smoked weed, so I mean, I don't even know how much that is, but it's got to be like not much.
It's not, yeah. It's probably, I'd say maybe 3 joints or something. So
yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean,
yeah, it had to be, like I said, it had to be a cop trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah, I mean, needless to say, we got bigger fish to fry in this country than that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Of course, I mean that was 93. So.
Oh well, yeah, it's like 30 years ago. So I mean,
there were still bigger fish to fry.
Still bigger fish to fry, but I mean, I
mean, after all, I did just like read like 5 stories there where people had traces of heroin in their system. So
exactly. Yeah.
I don't think weed's the problem.
No, it's not so much. All right. Well, this week, my contribution to This Week in Metal History 2-week edition is
Yeah.
brought to you by, as always, by This Day in Metal on Twitter and by Dr. Feelgood and Ms. Hyde on Facebook. So go follow those guys on those respective platforms over there. All right. Starting out with the holdovers from 2 Saturdays ago, we got April 2nd, 1991. Heaven's Gate releases Livin' in Hysteria. April 2nd of 2021, Evil Drive releases Demons Within. And April 2nd, 2013, Killswitch Engage releases their 6th studio album, Disarm the Descent, which debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200. Jumping ahead to the 3rd, April 3rd, 1981, Archangel releases their self-titled debut album. April 3rd, 1991, UDO releases Time Bomb. April 3rd of 2007, Magnum releases their 14th studio album, Princess Alice and the Broken Arrow, in the United States. April 3rd, 2020, Dynasty. I'm not 100% sure how they pronounce that, but because there's a Z in there, it's Dynasty. So I'm not exactly sure how they pronounce it, but Dynasty releases their 7th studio album, The Dark Delight, and Bonfire releases their 17th studio album, Fistful of Fire, which we've done that. Fistful of Fire, which we've done that a couple times on Friday nights. We've reached our hands in the fire being dumbasses.
No, I was just saying, you said Bonfire had released
Bonfire,
their 17th album? 17?
17.
Really? I didn't even know they were doing it that long.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Then April 3rd of 2010, Avantasia releases their 4th studio album, The Wicked Symptom, and the same day, same year, Avantasia releases their 5th studio album, Angel of Babylon. Both albums were released simultaneously as the final part of the Wicked trilogy. So 2 studio albums on the same day. So that was interesting.
That's kind of unheard of unless you're doing a Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, moving ahead to the 4th, April 4th, 2020, Totham releases their 4th studio album, Rise. April 4th of 2014, Delane releases their 4th studio album, The Human Contradiction. And April 4th, 1995, Kix releases their 6th studio album, Show Business. Moving ahead to the 5th, April 5th, 2013, Visions of Atlantis releases their 5th studio album, Ethera. April 5th of 2019, Eluveity releases their 8th studio album, Ategnatos. April 5th, 1995, Blind Guardian releases their 5th studio album, Imaginations from the Other Side. April 5th, 1987, Vinnie Moore releases his debut studio album, Mind's Eye. And April 5th, 2011, Hollywood Undead releases their 2nd studio album, American Tragedy, which debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200. Moving ahead to April 6th, 1984, Syar releases their debut album, Death Before Dishonor. April 6th, 2010, Veil of Maya releases Id. April 6th, 2004, Tigers of Pantang released their 8th studio album, Noises from the Cat House. April 6th, 1997, Within Temptation releases their debut studio album, Enter. April 6th, 1981, Whitesnake releases their 4th studio album, Come and Get It. And April 6th of 2018, Camelot releases their 12th studio album, The Shadow Theory. Moving ahead to the 7th, April 7th, 1998, Savatage releases their 10th studio album, The Wake of Magellan, in the United States. And Master releases Faith is in Season. April 7th, 1986, Vengeance releases We Have Ways to Make You Rock. Moving ahead to the 8th, April 8th, 1993, Phantom releases Cyberchrist. April 8th, 2008, POD releases When Angels and Serpents Dance, which debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200. And April 8th of 2016, Zakk Wylde releases his 2nd solo studio album, Book of Shadows 2. Moving ahead to the 9th, April 9th, 2021, Blaze Bayley releases War Within Me. April 9th, 2002, Dokken releases their 8th studio album, Long Way Home. And April 9th, 1997, Dokken releases their 6th studio album, Shadow Life. April 9th, 2013, Stone Sour releases their 5th studio album, House of Gold and Bones Part 2, which debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200. Moving ahead to the 10th, April 10th, 2000, Axel Rudy Pell releases his 8th studio album, The Masquerade Ball. April 10th, 2020, Nightwish releases their 9th studio album, Human Nature, and Joe Satriani releases his 17th studio album, Shape-Shifting. April 10th, 1989, The Cult releases their 4th studio album, Sonic Temple, which peaked at number 10 on the Billboard 200. Moving ahead to the 11th, April 11th, 1987, Slaughter releases their debut album, Strapado. April 11th, 2011, Amaranthi releases their self-titled debut studio album, which peaked at number 35 on the Swedish and number 16 on the Finnish charts. April 11th, 2008, Dokken releases their 10th studio album, Lightning Strikes Again, which debuted at number 133 on the Billboard 200. Dokken likes April.
Yeah, I guess so.
April 11th, 1995, Firehouse releases their third studio album, 3. Moving ahead to the 12th, April 12th, 1984, Chariot releases their debut album, The Warrior. April 12th, 2008, Tigers of Pantang released their 9th studio album, Animal Instinct. And April 12th, 2005, Mudvayne releases their 3rd studio album, Lost and Found. Moving ahead to the 13th, April 13th, 2001, Extrema releases their 3rd studio album, Better Mad Than Dead. April 13th, 2018, Bonfire releases their 15th studio album, Temple of Lies. April 13th, 2004, Joe Satriani releases his 10th studio album, Is There Love in Space, which peaked at number 80 on the Billboard 200. And April 13th, 1999, Burn the Priest releases their self-titled debut studio album, and of course, that was the band's only release before changing their name to Lamb of God. Moving ahead to the 14th, April 14th, 1989, Blind Guardian releases Follow the Blind. April 14th, 1982, Van Halen releases Diver Down, which peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and charted for 65 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah. April 14th, 1998, Halloween releases Better Than Raw. April 14th, 2017, Sailing to Nowhere releases their 2nd studio album, Lost in Time. April 14th, 2014, Got Hard releases their 11th studio album, Bang. And April 14th, 2010, Crash Diet releases their 3rd studio album, Generation Wild, which debuted at number 3 on the Swedish album chart. Moving ahead to the 15th, April 15th, 2016, Dynasty releases Titanic Mass, and Crematory releases Monument. April 15th, 2008, Soylent Green releases Inevitable Collapse in the Presence of Conviction, and everyone also knows that Soylent Green is people. April 15th, if you don't get that reference, Google it, kids. April 15th, 2014, Temperance releases their self-titled debut studio album. April 15th, 2004, Ensiferum releases their 2nd studio album, Iron. April 15th, 1996, Rage releases their 10th studio album, Lingua Mortis. April 15th, 2012, Dragon Force releases their 5th studio album, The Power Within. And last but not least, April 15th, 1982, Anvil releases their 2nd studio album, Metal on Metal. So those are the historical releases from the 3rd through the 15th.
Right.
The last 2 weeks.
All right. Yes, we will jump into our hitting the road segment here.
Mhm.
I don't have a lot because I figured, so I figure you will make up the difference.
Oh yeah.
So I will kick it off, I guess. Sons of Metallica members announced Bastardane and Otto spring 2022 West Coast tour. That is the son. Bastardane is the band member, son of James Hetfield, and then Otto is consists of bassist Rob Trujillo's son. So when he's not playing with Suicidal Tendencies.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, that tour kicks off on May 27th in Napa Valley, California. Bastardane will be at that Bottle Rock 2022, and then Otto will be there on the 28th at the same festival there. And then they end off their tour together on June 10th at Seal Beach, California at the Affliction Clothing headquarters. This one's kind of was surprising to me. Five Finger Death Punch announced tour with Megadeth, The Who, and Fire from the Gods, which Megadeth is supporting, which that was the surprising part to me. I'm like, what? But
that's actually not the first time that Megadeth has gone on tour with Five Finger Death Punch as support. It's not the first time.
Yeah, that must be their kind of passing the buck to Five Finger, I guess, to carry the torch. I don't know, but no. Anyway, that tour kicks off on August 19th in Portland, Oregon at the RVN Styles Resort Amphitheater and ends on October 15th in Salt Lake City, Utah at Usana Amphitheater. No dates near us, unfortunately. Anyway, we get to see them in May anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper's Detroit Muscle 2022 U.S. Tour dates. This kicks off on September 7th in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania at the Wind Creek Event Center and is going to end on October 8th in Las Vegas, Nevada at a venue to be announced.
Yep.
So they haven't picked the venue yet. So they are going to be in Chattanooga on September 25th at Soldier and Sailors Memorial Auditorium. So they will be kind of close by.
Yeah, and they're also going to be at the Orpheum Theater in Memphis 2 nights later.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're going to be in Chattanooga and in Memphis, but not in Nashville. So, of course, you actually just got to see him in Nashville.
Was it last year?
Very tail end of last year, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was October. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here is an update on the Partway Drive. They have canceled their North American tour with Hatebreed, The Black Dahlia Murder, and Stick to Your Guns. In the band's statement, they expressed their commitment to the band over the last 20 years, but noted that they've reached a limit that has necessitated nixing the tour. They confirmed that they will still move ahead with their European tour in the fall, though. So, congratulations, Europe! You get to hear that where we don't. So.
Mm-hmm.
Korn and Evanescence 2022 tour dates. This starts out on August the 16th in Denver, Colorado at the Ball Arena and ends on September 16th at Richfield, Washington at the RV Inn Styles Resort Amphitheater. Wow, that venue is pretty popular, sounds like.
Yeah. Even though it's got a stupid name.
Yeah. Where are you going? Oh, the RV Inn Styles Nestle Quick Resorts. Like 50 fucking names. Blackened heavy metal outfit Night will be embarking on a West Coast U.S. tour in support of Bewitcher. That kicks off on April 17th in Boise, Idaho at the Shredder and ends on April 29th in Oakland, California at the Elbow Room. So just a short little tour there for that one. And that is actually all that I had. I know you probably got a boatload more, but
I've got quite a bit more. But strangely enough, I didn't have that last one that you just had. So that's awesome.
That one I actually got. I actually got that off of that Metalheads Forever magazine.
Oh,
site.
Nice. Okay.
They have a lot of obscure tour dates on there, so I try to grab a lot of those.
Yeah.
So you're not having to mark out a bunch of shit because.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like Korn and Evanescence was on like 4 sites. So I mean,
it was. I'm sure it was. Same thing with the Five Finger Death Punch one.
Oh yeah, that's probably yeah.
All right. Well, yep. For the Hitting the Road for the April 2nd through the 15th, starting out over at the PRP.com. Being as an Ocean, their Dear God 10th Anniversary UK tour is going to start December 6th, 2022 at the, I don't know how the hell to say this. So I'm going to spell it. I'm because I thought I typed it wrong the first time, or maybe it was a typo at the website. So I'm not exactly sure how to say this. It's CLWB IFORBACH. Those are 3 words. I thought it was Club I4 Bach, but I don't know. But it's in Cardiff, Wales. That's the name of the venue. That CLWB IFORBACH. That's the name of the venue. It's in Cardiff, Wales. And then finishing on December 11th at the Manchester Academy in Manchester, England. Then we have the Browning and Young Medicine going out on tour together. It's just a quick 10-day jog, it looks like, starting July 7th at the White Oak Music Hall in Houston, Texas, and finishing July 17th at XBK in Des Moines, Iowa. No Nashville date for that. And then the aforementioned Bastardane, they're going to be going out on tour themselves, starting May 13th at Smith's Old Bar in Atlanta, Georgia, and finishing on June 7th at the Venice West in Venice, California. They will actually be in Nashville on May 14th at the Basement East. So,
nice.
Yeah. So if you want to go check out James Hetfield's son play drums, they'll be in Nashville. Then we have Attack, the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Kingdom Collapse, and Astoria State going out on tour together in July, starting July 13th at Subterranean in Chicago, Illinois. That show will be without the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. And then the tour finishes July 31st at Buffalo Ironworks in Buffalo, New York, and they will not be coming to Nashville on that tour. Then we have Cloakroom going out on tour, starting May 7th at Big Room Bar in Columbus, Ohio, finishing May 22nd at the Cactus Club in Milwaukee. They will be in Nashville on May 8th at Dark Matter. Again, I still don't know where the hell that place is. Then we have Spotlights going out on tour, just a quick 8 or 9 day jog. Starting May 8th at Green Lantern in Lexington, Kentucky, finishing May 16th at Black Circle in Indianapolis. No Nashville dates for that. Then we have a quick little update. Mammoth WVH is dropping off of the tour with Dirty Honey due to positive COVID tests. Then we have Bosk and Divine going. Bosk. I don't know if it's Bosk or if it's Bosk. It's all spelled together in one word, so I'm just going with Bosk. Bosk and Divine going on a UK tour. It's like 1 week long, it looks like. Starting December 12th at Bodega in Nottingham, England. Jason must have had to go to the bathroom again. Finishing December 18th at Ivory Blacks in Glasgow, Scotland. Sorry, almost say Glasgow, England. That's not right. Glasgow, Scotland. Then we have Entheos, Archspire, Inferi, and Vulvadina. Vulvadinia. Sorry. There's an I in there. Going out on tour starting April 13th at El Corazon in Seattle, Washington, finishing May 14th at Rickshaw Theater in Vancouver, British Columbia. No Nashville date on that tour. Then we have Moonspell, Swallow the Sun, and Witherfall going out on tour starting August 25th at Les Poissons Rouges in New York, finishing September 18th at Middle East Downstairs in Boston, Massachusetts. Again, no Nashville date for that tour. Then we have Ville Valo, the former lead singer of the band Him, going out on tour in 2023. He will be in Europe and the UK starting January 13th, 23 at Helsinki and Tavastia, Finland, and finishing on March 15th at the O2 Forum, Kentish Town in London, England. Then coming over to North America starting on April 1st, 23 at Theater of Living Arts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, finishing May 8th at the Irving Plaza in New York. He will be in Nashville on May 4th, 23 at Brooklyn Bowl. Then we have Crown the Empire, The World Alive, and Afterlife going out on a very short tour starting May 21st at Welcome to Rockville in Daytona Beach. And finishing on May 27th at the So What Festival in Arlington, Texas, and they will be in Nashville on May 24th at The End. So a 1 week tour that actually does include Nashville. So it's kind of surprising. Then we have Hypocrisy, Septic Flesh, The Agonist, and Horizon. We talked about that earlier in the program here with Hypocrisy having a brand new band member there. They're going to be going out on a European and UK tour starting September 30th at Matrix in Bochum, Germany. I've decided that's how you say that, Bochum. I don't know if that's how the Germans say it, but that's how I'm saying it. Finishing on November 12th at Arwo House in Berlin, Germany. Then we've got Mudvayne with some off-date headlining shows. They're going to be at the Rave Eagles Club featuring Starset on July 14th. And I didn't write down the city for that one. Sorry about that. And then they're also going to be at the Mission Ballroom in Denver, Colorado featuring Powerman 5000 on August 8th. Then we have North Lane. Hey, did you have to go to the bathroom again?
Well, the dog actually busted into one of the dogs actually busted into the room, but
okay.
But yeah, I did take a chance to do that while I was out though.
All right. Well, let's see. We got North Lane, Silent Planet, Avoid, and the opener to be announced going out on tour starting July 13th at the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco, California, finishing August 25th at the Regent in Los Angeles. No Nashville date for that one. Then we have The Plot in You and Can't Swim going out on a 3-day mini tour starting on May 20th at Webster Underground. Forgot to write the goddamn city for that one. Sorry. I gotta pay more attention to this shit. That's twice I've done that on this list. I'm sorry about that, you guys. Finishing on May 22nd at Elevation 27 in Virginia Beach, Virginia. No Nashville date on that 3-day run. Then we have Rings of Saturn going out on tour. They will be with Extortionist, Distinguisher, Loser, and Matt Miller starting on June 17th at Amplified Live in Dallas, Texas, finishing July 6th at the Sanctuary in Detroit. Then they will be with Extortionist, Distinguisher, and Matt Miller. No Loser on this next leg, starting July 7th at the Craft House in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, finishing July 17th at Come and Take It Live in Austin, Texas. No Nashville date on either leg of that tour. We have 3 Days Grace, Wage War, and 0936 going out on tour together, starting July 28th at the Fillmore in Detroit, finishing August 19th at the Marquee Theater in Tempe. They will be in Nashville August 6th at Marathon Music Works. Then they have Canadian dates with The Warning and The Standstills, starting November 8th at Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Vancouver, finishing November 23rd at Budweiser Gardens in London, Ontario. Then we have Knocked Loose, Choir Boy, Soft Kill, and Despise going on a UK tour, starting June 21st at Rescue Rooms in Nottingham, UK, finishing July 9th at 2000 Trees in Cheltenham, UK. Then we have Hatebreed. They have canceled their August European and UK touring plans due to quote-unquote logistical issues. Then we have Stick to Your Guns going on a European and UK tour. They're going to be going on, they've got like festival runs they're going on. Then starting on June 3rd at Rock am Ring in Nuremberg, Germany, and then finishing on July 9th at Fastfest in Velké Meziříčí, Czech Republic. Say that 3 times fast. Then Starset is going out on tour. They will be on tour with Fame on Fire and Smash into Pieces, starting on May 25th at the Truman in Kansas City, Missouri, finishing on June 15th at the Concourse, the International in Knoxville, Tennessee. Then they will be with Fame on Fire only on June 17th at the Orpheum Theater in Tampa. They will be with Fame on Fire and Oni on June 18th at Revolution Live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They will be with Oni only starting June 19th at House of Blues Orlando in Lake Buena Vista, Florida, finishing on July 13th at the Mercury Ballroom in Louisville. Then they will be on tour by themselves starting July 1st at the Eagles Ballroom in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and finishing on July 16th at Rockfest in Cadott, Wisconsin. No Nashville dates on with any of those lineups, but they will be at the Signal in Chattanooga, Tennessee with Oni on June 21st, 2022. Then we have Downswing and Rot going on tour starting June 5th at Black Circle in Indianapolis, finishing on June 16th at Scandals Live featuring Guerrilla Warfare, Fox Lake, and Degrader. No Nashville date, but they will be at the Signal on June 7th. So that place in Chattanooga, they get a lot of business. And that's a place I'd like to go. You're on mute, I think. There you go. Now you're live.
I don't know, man. That's where the Testament, Exodus, and show is going to be at. So.
Yeah, I know. It's probably a pretty cool place. I still hadn't been there.
I've never been there, so I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
so.
Be a pretty cool place. And then moving over to blabbermouth.net, we've got Airborne going out on tour starting September 9th at the Gramercy Theater in New York, New York, finishing on October 11th at the aforementioned Troubadour in Los Angeles, California. No Nashville date for that. Then I was hesitant to mention this one because I don't think they're metal at all. Some people may disagree with me, but I don't know who those people would be. Anyway, we've got the Melvins, Helms.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we have the Melvins, Helms Ali, and Harshmello going out on tour starting June 15th at Alex's Bar in Long Beach, California, finishing July 20th at Cornerstone Berkeley in Berkeley, California. No Nashville date for that tour, but they will be at the Bijou Theater in Knoxville, Tennessee on June 23rd. So, like I say, I was super duper hesitant to add that one, but it was in there. Some people may be interested, so I put it in there for everybody else, not myself. So.
Yeah, well, a lot of people may listen to metal in that. So
yes, that's another reason why I did that. So, and then moving over to Loudwire, we have Amigo, The Devil, and Murder by Death with Samantha Kane and the Catacombs alternating as openers, starting August 5th at Scoot Inn in Austin, Texas, and finishing September 11th at the Crocodile in Seattle, Washington. No Nashville date for that. And then last but not least, we have the Veer Union going out on tour. They will be on tour with Two Shadows starting, 3 days ago, April 13th. You all right there, buddy?
Yeah.
I think you just yawned into your microphone. Starting the Veer Union with Two Shadows starting April 13th at Globos in Los Angeles, California. So that tour is already underway. Finishing May 2nd at Reggie's Music Joint in Chicago, Illinois. Then they will be with Heartsick and Late Night Savior starting May 3rd at the Token Lounge in Westland, Michigan, which is just outside of Detroit for you geography folks. And then finishing on May 29th at Rockstar Bar in Las Vegas, Nevada. No Nashville date on either leg of that tour either. So that's the Hitting the Road segment for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was definitely jam-packed. So
it was.
Hopefully, if you guys are listening or listen later, you can jot down your favorite shows there and head out and support your favorite bands.
Yeah, and like our tagline says, jump in that pit whenever you can.
That's right. All right, we're gonna switch over to our top 10 of the week.
Yes,
we had to combine the two this week. We're gonna do a start-stop topic this week, so which it was kind of difficult doing even both of them. So
yeah, I'm glad we knocked it. I'm glad we knocked it down to just the 10 because I'll admit I kind of improvised on the fly there, and you'll see what I mean when I get to mine.
Yeah, well,
it was still. I mean, it was still fun to do, but this one definitely was one of the more difficult ones.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that it was, but it was.
Yeah. You didn't have to like revert to like Rolling Stones or nothing, did you?
No. If I would have gotten to that point, I would have texted you like, "No, we got to do something.
We got to change this shit.
Yeah, we have to change it. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we don't have a lot of overlap because we might be in trouble.
Might be.
Man. Anyway, I will kick it off here, I guess. Top 10 metal songs, start, stop. Or it should have been stop and go, maybe is what we should have went with, maybe. First one I had was Ozzy Osbourne, I Don't Want to Stop, from Black Rain in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Scorpions, Don't Stop at the Top from Savage Amusement in 1988.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then I had Korn, Start the Healing from Requiem earlier this year. And then I had Hell Yeah, Start a Riot, which is all one word, by the way, from the Undeniable album in 2016.
You mean that track title is all one word?
Yeah.
Oh,
Start a Riot, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's the Heat, Korn, Scorpions. Okay.
I was trying to let you catch up.
Yeah, thank you.
Then I had Killswitch Engage, Starting Over. That was from Killswitch Engage 2009.
Okay.
I had Disturbed, Just Stop from 10,000 Fists in 2005.
I can't believe I fucking forgot about that one.
Then I had Nothing More, Don't Stop from The Stories We Tell Ourselves in 2017.
Okay.
And then I had Machine Head featuring Jesse Lynch, Stop the Bleeding from Civil Unrest EP 2020. Then I had Rob Zombie, Never Gonna Stop from the Sinister Urge 2001.
Yep.
And then I had Death Angel, Stop from Act 3, 1990. Go back a little ways.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we had 3 overlaps.
Yeah, we'll have
So
to figure that out. So.
yeah, we'll have to figure that out. We have to figure that out after the fact. Like I say, this one gave me a lot more trouble than I thought it would. So
Yeah.
towards the end, I kind of improvised with some synonyms, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. So my first one, I had "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue off the Dr. Feelgood album. Then I also had "I Don't Want to Stop" by Ozzy Osbourne off of Black Rain. Then I had then third I had "Stop" by Dope off the Life album. Then I also had "Stop the Bleeding" by Machine Head off of Civil Unrest. Then I had "Never Stop Believing" by Iron Savior off their Killer Get Killed album. Then I had "Never Gonna Stop" by Rob Zombie from the Sinister Urge. And then I ran into my roadblocks. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to improvise. And I went with synonyms for "Stop" and "Start." That's why I'm kind of kicking myself for like some of those you had. I was like, how the hell did I forget those? But anyway, you run into, I guess, technically writer's block sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So I went with "Revolution Begins" by Arch Enemy off of Rise of the Tyrant. Then I went with "Childhood's End" by Angelus Apatrida off their, very, very good self-titled album from last year. Then I went with "End of the Line" by Devil Driver off the Theory of Our Maker's Hand. And then I went with "How the Story Ends" by Megadeth off of Endgame. So that actually helped me get through the list by, I was like, what are the synonyms for "start" and "stop"? And I was like, oh shit, beginning and ending. So I was like,
that was now you ruined next week's.
Nope, no. So I will admit to technically cheating, but hey, you know what? It's like we've said before, it's our show, so we do what we want. So. But yeah, we'll fill that in and get to our 20 songs, and we'll get that playlist compiled, and we'll get that sucker posted. So
yeah. Speaking of that, I'll post the playlist from last week while you're doing the album review. So
yeah.
All right, kicking into album reviews. Man, I listened to 2 full albums. I listened to a few tracks off of a couple of other albums, and to say 80s and early 90s hair metal, or whatever you wanted to call that era of metal, it's still alive is probably an understatement, because there's at least 3 albums that was definitely had an 80s 90s vibe to it this week. So
nothing wrong with that.
no, there was nothing wrong with it. It's like I've gotten to the point where, even though I grew up on that type of music, I have to like have a certain mood to like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could throw Machine Head or stuff like that on any time and be fine with it. But to for some of that stuff, I had to like be in a certain mood to actually listen to it. There ain't nothing wrong with it. And I'm just saying that you just have to be in that certain mood.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and like sometimes I get in those moods and I'll just listen to 90s stuff for a couple days. So it just kind of depends. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But I went with Aluna, which their album "Strange Machine." They're a doom metal, doom rock band originating from Birmingham, England, formed in 2006. Their current lineup is Jake Mason on drums, Dan Birchmore on bass, Sion Greenaway on vocals, and Matt Noble on guitar. Looks like the only original band member is Jake Mason, the drummer. So everybody else has kind of came along the way. So the guitarist Matt Noble is actually the newer addition. He was joined in 2020. So this is the band's 6th studio album, 9 songs, 42 minutes, 22 seconds. You could also throw them into maybe like the stoner rock category as well.
Okay.
And I also read another review on this album, and I kind of like the way that they described it. It's a more graceful metal than a brutal metal, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And I was like, man, I kind of like that. That's pretty good. It's pretty good description there. So it definitely had an old school, very dark. And I'm talking about old school. I'm talking about like Sabbath old school.
Oh, okay.
Like it was a
old
very
school.
Yeah, very dark and eerie. type feel, and instrumentals are kind of like the same way. They do incorporate multiple instruments, which was pretty cool. 'Cause I kept hearing like these little like flutes and stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of different. But there just to me though, there just wasn't enough modernization, I guess, to it. I feel like they could still. I feel like a band could still get away with that if they kind of incorporate a little more of today's sound with it,
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying to make it just sound like that period. So that's kind of like what I took from it. But overall, I'm gonna go out and give it a 2.5 horns. Like it's kind of down the middle. I wasn't like screaming for joy, but I didn't like really hate it. I mean, it was just it is what it is. So
Yeah.
and then the second album I listened to was Poison Rose. It was album Little Bang Theory. So didn't find a whole lot of info about the band. Well, actually, I found a lot of info, just not a lot of what I wanted to find. But
Yeah.
it's they're a melodic metal band. Poison Rose. I'm gonna give it a little backstory here. Poison Rose is a new project centered around vocalist Marco Sivo, a songwriter and backing vocalist on multiple releases from the Frontiers label. Frontiers president Serafino Perugino wanted to put him in the spotlight and showcase his talents as a writer, songwriter, and singer. Thus, Poison Rose was born. The debut album, Little Bang Theory, features 11 contemporary hard rock songs with in-your-face performances and haunting melodies. Brought to the label's attention by producer Alessandro Del Vecchio, Marco Sivo has written songs for albums by Gioele Castronova, Love Killers featuring Tony Harnell, and Sweet Oblivion featuring Jeff Tate, and also been featured as backing vocalist on all of the Hell in the Club albums released by the Frontiers label, and on Lifeblood by Secret Sphere. When Perugino talked to Del Vecchio about building a new project around Sivel's voice, it was a natural fit to surround Marco with musicians from his circle of friends. Um, all three the people they added deliver goods, and as they always do on Little Bang Theory, giving it a depth and identity that goes well beyond a mere studio project. Marco Sivo has been Italy's best kept secret for years, so this is kind of cool that it's an Italian metal band. Don't talk about that a lot on here. So,
No.
since his time fronting a band was with the prog metal band The Time Machine on their last album, Rev- oh my God, Reviviscence, Reviviscence in 2004. The time had come to bring him more in the public eye, floating a new, fresh band that would be right musical vehicle for his vocal and writing abilities. Civil's voice has also been heard on national broadcast Virgin Radio, singing their official jingle or anthem, so some of you might know his voice without realizing it. Um, the current lineup is, of course, Marco Silva on vocals, Andrea Saveso on guitars, Aldo Lenoble on guitars, and Alessandro Del Vecchio on bass, keyboards, and backing vocals, and Ito Sala on drums. Of course, this is the band's debut album, so even though they kind of been around for a while, they just started collaborating together, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
So 11 songs, 42 minutes, 50 seconds. This one definitely had an old school 80s, early 90s sound. Reminded me of like a Leather Wolf, Dangerous Toys, or Bang Tango kind of. If you're familiar with any of those bands, Marco Sivo definitely got some pipes. He definitely has a pretty good range. Like even one of the songs kind of reminded me of that old Steelheart song. I don't know if you remember that band,
I do.
but that singer he had a great vocal.
Yeah. You got some pipes.
Yeah, so this guy's definitely got some pipes. So they had some pretty good guitar solos throughout the album. I actually like that too. I feel like that's kind of something that music's kind of gotten away from a lot is the solos. Of course,
Some of it.
a lot of bands are bringing that back, so it's kind of cool to hear. That being said, this album was really good. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm going to go out and give it 3 horns. This It's just mainly because of the same thing I said earlier. Kind of one of those things where I'd have to be in the mood to actually, check it out or whatever. But um, yeah, overall not too bad. So if you're into that kind of a
And you said that was Poison Rose, right?
Poison Rose, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna check that out. All right. Well, the one that I was able to get through, I got through the new, and this is a band I've actually heard of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, normally, you know, like we do, with the exception like the big names that come out, we like to kind of pick a band we've never heard before. So I've heard of this band, but I've only heard literally maybe only like 2 of their songs ever. So I wanted to check out one of their albums in their entirety, which is why I went with them. I went with the new album Vermilion Eclipse by Semblant. They were a gothic metal band. They were formed in Curitiba, Brazil in 2006. Their lyrical themes include mysticism and life. Their current lineup consists of Jay Augusto on keyboards, Sergio Masul on vocals, the male vocals, Mizuho Lin on vocals, female vocals, of course. Then we have Giuliano Ribeiro on guitars. We have Thor moonlighting on drums. I didn't know he was in a band. And then we have
Bring the
Johan.
hammer.
Yeah, then we have Johan. It's fitting he's on drums, and then makes sense. And then Johan Piper on bass. This is their 4th studio album. Their debut album, the last Night of Mortality, came out in 2010. Lunar Manifesto in 2014, Obscura in 2020, and Vermilion Eclipse came out yesterday.
Yeah, I think now that you said that, I think I remember maybe listening to that Obscura album a couple years ago. So
yeah, like I say, they've been around, and like I say, I've heard maybe like 1 or 2 of their songs, like on YouTube, like maybe seen a video or 2 of theirs. But I've never listened to any album in its entirety. So that's why I was like, I'm going to give this a listen. It's 12 tracks in length. It is exactly 60 minutes long, which for a perfectionist like me is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't have all of the track lengths broken out, but it was 60 minutes and 0 seconds, 60 minutes on the dot according to Spotify. So I'm just going to go with that. Track number one is Enrage, and none of those annoying ass intros that they count. Just 12 full length tracks. So you got Enrage, track 2, Destiny and Curse, track 3, Purified, track 4, The Human Eclipse, track 5, Somber Concern, track 6, Neverending Fall, track 7, Through the Denial, track number 8, Black Sun Genesis, Legacy of Blood, part 6, Heretic. No, it's not a Slipknot cover. Track number 10, Blood Red Monarch, Legacy of Blood, part 7. I guess I need to listen to Legacy of Blood parts 1 through 5. They may be on the other albums. I actually didn't look. And then we have track 11, Gaslighting, and track 12, Day 1, Oblivion. What I liked about this album, and I really hate to say this because I know that there's been a couple of other albums that I've listened to over the past year, going on year and a half, where there's been a female and a male vocalist that alternate. And I know I've kind of referred to them before as kind of like a heavier version of Lacuna Coil, but this is probably the band that portrays that vocal style the most that I've come across, especially on this album, because they sound more like Lacuna Coil did on their last album, Black Anima, which we didn't like that much overall as far as Lacuna Coil's discography, but the way Andrea Ferro decided to sing a little more aggressively, his part of the songs on Black Anima, that's a little more indicative of the way Sergio Masul and Mizuho Lin sing together, because Mizuho Lin, she sings nothing but straight clean vocals all the way through, like Christina Scabbia does. But Sergio Masul, he does a little bit of a different style than Andrea Ferro does, but what Andrea Ferro did on Black Anima, he went with a more aggressive style than he normally does, and Sergio Masul does that predominantly, but he throws in a little bit more clean vocals than Andrea Ferro normally does. But it's still the most accurate description I could come up with. So it works really well in this band. It works really well in Lacuna Coil also. The guitar work was, I really liked the guitar work on this album. like you say, like you said on the album that the second one you had talked about, some of the guitar solos were done really well. What I liked about this album, and I seriously doubt this was on purpose, that it's a direct influence, but there were, and I don't remember the track titles because I was listening to this while mowing the lawn yesterday. So while I was listening to it, I didn't have time to like take actual notes.
Mm-hmm.
But there were one or two songs at the very, very tail end of the album that sounded like musically, like guitars and drums, the way that the music itself was composed sounded a lot like the new Trivium album, and that was right up my alley. So fucking loved it. So, you've got the vocal stylings of Lacuna Coil thrown in with some of the musical stylings of Trivium. You put them together and you had this album. So
that's pretty good, man.
Yeah. So it may be one that you might want to check out. So
yeah, I wrote it down. So
yeah, I'm gonna give this one 3.5 out of 5. So I liked it a lot more than I thought I would, which is never a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm gonna try to listen to some of their other albums, maybe definitely the Obscura one for a couple of years ago, and then see what I can find on the other ones, because I don't know if maybe they decided to go a little heavier this time, because they seem to be a little heavier than I remember. Some of the other songs I listened to, they sounded a little bit more melodic. So that's kind of what I was expecting with this. And there is a little bit of that on here, because they do have a keyboard player, but none of the keyboard aspects were overpowering or so prevalent that it made the songs softer than you would have expected. So the keyboards were in the background, which is where you kind of want them. They weren't drowned out and obscured, but they weren't overpowering in your face to kind of take away from the heaviness of any of the songs, which I like.
So here's a good question, since you brought that up. So what's the most iconic song you remember that with keyboards?
Jesus Christ.
Because you don't hear a lot of keyboards in
you don't. Yeah, you don't really. Man, that's a good question.
Put him on a spot.
You did.
So whenever you brought that up,
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
The first thing I thought of was Europe's Final Countdown. I think that was probably
that's actually probably gonna be the most iconic song with keyboards in it.
It's a pretty well known song. So I mean, of course, me and you were talking about the.
Great question.
Oh man, who was that covered that song? Affiance? Was it Affiance?
Yeah, the Final Countdown. Yeah, it was Affiance.
Yeah, man, that was a great cover too. So
yeah, the way that Affiance took that keyboard riff and turned it into a guitar riff, they did a really
that's crazy.
They did an amazing job with that one. They really did.
All right, now that I put you on the spot, what do we got coming up for next week?
Yeah, coming up for April 22nd, 2022. This is a pretty decent list, actually. I mean, there are some re-release. I think there's some re-releases on here. I could be wrong, but we'll get to it in just a second.
I know you had me happy last week when you said Armored Saint this week. I'm like, oh yeah, and you said it was a re-release. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, it was a re-release. Yeah. There are a lot of EPs though, so we may be able to get in a few of those. Yeah. So leading off, we have Aldo Nova with Aldo Nova 2.0 Reloaded. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I don't know if it's a re-release or not. I'm not 100% sure.
But didn't he just have he was just on the list like a week or two ago?
Yeah, he was, which is weird, because I don't know if maybe that got pushed back or what, because I do remember talking about Aldo Nova not too long ago. So this one may have been a pushback. So this may be a new date. And then we have Amon-Ra / Cave-In / Marissa Nadler. I'm not exactly sure I get that one, but with Songs of Towns Van Zant Volume 3. We have Audrey Horne with Devil's Bell. We have Caliban with Dystopia. Compressed with Succumb to Rot. Then we have Die Apokalyptischen Reiter. That's German, obviously, with Wild Kinder. We have Dorothy with Gifts from the Holy Ghost. We have Huntsman with The Dying Pines. That's an EP. We have Kirk Hammett with his EP Portals. We have Ocean Grove with Up in the Air Forever. Primus with Conspiranoid. That's an EP for them. We have Radiant with Written by Life. Ruby the Hatchet with Live at Earthquaker. That's an EP for them. We have Shinedown with Planet Zero. Skull Fist with Paid in Full. I'm probably going to try to listen to that just because of the band name, Skull Fist.
Yeah, right.
Fucking awesome. We have Solitary with 25 Live at Bloodstock. That's a DVD CD combo. Listen to this one, Somali Yacht Club.
Oh, what?
Somali Yacht Club with The Space. Look at me. I am the captain now. We have Static Abyss with Labyrinth of Veins. Oh, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah.
Then we have Udo Dirkschneider with My Way. That's probably his like 50th studio album he's come out with.
It's the third this year, right?
It's something like that. Yeah. We have Undeath. We have Undeath with It's Time, ... to Rise from the Grave. Then we have various artists, Brown Acid, The 14th Trip. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Then we have Wardruna with Kvit Raven, First Flight of the White Raven. Okay. Yeah. Kvit Raven, First Flight of the White Raven. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a pretty long list. There's some EPs in there. I'm probably going to try to check out the Kirk Hammett one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. See what I can say. And I'm probably gonna call dibs on that Skull Fist right now. But yeah, so those are the new releases coming up on next Friday, April 22nd.
I don't know if you've seen the story where Disturbed finally got all their stuff recorded.
Yep.
So that's coming out, and I also found out from a conversation that I'll talk to you about that Non-Point's working on a new EP.
Sweet.
So we may get some new music from them by the end of the year.
Nice.
So just from going forward, you got to think you got a new Five Finger album coming.
Mm-hmm.
You got Disturbed finishing up. You got Avenged Sevenfold for sure at some point. Megadeth.
Slipknot.
So I mean, there's
Judas Priest has their new album written. They're ready to record it.
There's just so much, man. Just so much. Like God, I can't.
Yeah, Machine Head.
Machine Head. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So
August.
Yeah.
Man, that new track. Oh, that new song. Yeah. Holy shit.
I said I was going to put that in the chat, and I didn't. I lied. So I was sitting here conversating.
That new Machine Head track. I was like, holy shit balls.
Yeah, it's going to be a good damn year, dude. Like I don't know how we're going to be able to push it into
23.
Well, I mean, I don't know how we're going to push it into 10. Like at this point, it's
yeah. At the end of the year, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's kind of
it's going to be a tough one, but it'll be fun as hell trying. Because I mean, hell, we've already had a shit ton of good music come out already this year, and then on top of all, there it is right there, and on top of
the weekly,
there's the link to the weekly playlist. So I'll leave that up there for a little bit for anybody who wants to copy and paste that and check that out.
Then I'll get that. Was the Inappropriate one's the last one, right?
Mm-hmm. Inappropriate Funeral.
Inappropriate Funerals. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a fun one to do too.
It was fun.
Let's see. Of course, Sony. I got that Sony Music block again this morning. So.
Oh, did you? Did it pop up already?
Yeah. Like wow.
Like for real, man. I mean, come on.
And then there's the other one there. So. So there's the two.
All right, so
two playlists there. Right. So,
and then this is the one from last week's top 10. This is the Inappropriate Funeral playlist. So,
yeah. So, if you got a family member you hate and you want to throw in some metal, there you go.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. I'll try to find 3 more tracks for that for your playlist.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do.
I'll go in here in a minute and mess around with it and see what I come up with.
Well, what I'll do is this week when I compile this one, I'll since we follow each other on Spotify, I'll add you as a collaborator. That way,
okay, yeah.
We
Okay.
that way you just add to it.
All right,
Which
that'll work.
should have been doing that from the beginning.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know why we haven't been.
But
Usually,
we'll go ahead and do
usually
that.
the playlist thing doesn't, that I do doesn't matter too much. So I usually don't. I just compile a bunch of shit and throw it out there.
Yeah. Well, it's just something full of
Yeah,
good
like,
stuff for people to listen to.
and the playlist that we come out, the weekly playlist usually have new tracks that come out through the week on it. So so it's you get a little bit of the new stuff with a little bit of the old stuff. So
yeah.
So all right,
just something to play when you're at work, unless you work at Amazon. So.
Yeah, right. Oh man, which I'm not going to say anything because I actually do work for Amazon, so I'm not going to say whether I do or do not listen to music at work. So
yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, you're going to plead the fizz if. So
I'm not going to say anything on the grounds that it may incriminate me. So.
That's right. No, but I will tell you, I plead the fizz if.
Yep.
F-I-F if.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to wrap it up.
That's right.
Since we're doing Dave Chappelle stuff here.
That's right.
All right. Well, I appreciate everyone for stopping in. I know it was a little bit lengthier than usual with our normal show, but we had to do a little catch up. So actually, I think we did pretty good at getting it in 2 hours and 45 minutes. So,
yeah, we did.
So not too bad.
I think so.
So thank you guys for stopping in, and I hope you guys have a good week and see you right back here next week with all the news and history moments and new albums and all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we do still have irons in the fire. So
oh yeah.
We may or may not have updates on another guest. So we'll keep you guys posted on that for sure. But in the meantime, check out VOPUSARadio.com for all of the shows here at the VOP USA Radio Network. Not just us. We got High Octane, my brother's automotive podcast. We got all of our political podcasts on either side of the aisle. We got wrestling. We got the R Word with Rebecca Black. I mean, we got a whole bunch of stuff over here at the VOP USA Radio Network. We've got a little bit of something for everybody. We also got the VOP USA Radio mobile app. You can download that on whichever cell phone you guys want to use, the overpriced piece of garbage Apple stuff, or the more sensible, easier to use Android stuff. That's just this reviewer's humble opinion.
Not to be biased or anything.
No. But I'm not an iPhone fan, but it's just whatever. I don't really care one way or the other. But and then as always, we have the Facebook page, the Metalheads Unite Facebook group over at facebook.com that Jason is accurately pointing at. So and then we have the very, very often forgotten Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com email address.
maybe we need to change it to gspot.com.
Maybe something.
Get some more hits, but
maybe, yeah. So we do still have that available for anybody who wants to email us. But so there are plenty of ways to reach us, plenty of ways to watch the show, and the YouTube channel is up and running now. So last week was the first week where we finally got it right. So the you're able to watch the show over there too, in addition to all the other avenues.
Yeah, we had to create another outlet to get on there because our VOP partners, a lot of them are political, and they get us in trouble a lot on YouTube. So
for no good reason, because God forbid anybody have an opinion.
Yeah, but I mean we have to do what we have to do to get our show going and staying on. So
yep. So we are over at YouTube now. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. If you follow Jason and I on Twitter, you can watch the show there. And then there's a literal list of other places where podcasts are streamed that you can apparently find us too. iHeart, all those other places. So
Yep. Yeah, I forgot about iHeartRadio.
yeah.
Yep.
So your guys' list of excuses for not watching the show is getting very, very small. So
Yeah. And plus, we do all the work for you. We cut out all the
Exactly.
middleman bullshit. So
yeah, we're like the scrubbing bubbles of the fucking heavy metal world. We do the work so you don't have to.
that's right. Yep. All right, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up, and hopefully see you guys right back here next week. Until then, keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can.
Thank you guys. Have a fantastic week and happy Easter.
Yep. Happy Easter. Yep. Forgot about that.
Have a good one, guys.